just thinking about products like, right, like how much can you change Pepsi or Coca-Cola, right? Like,
I
as
mean, hey,
long
we
as
got
people
rid of
like it, like,
cocaine, right? At some point.
I mean, it's evolved, yes.
You
Probably
can
not to
change
their
it a
benefit.
lot. You can change
That
it a
probably
lot.
wasn't a good business move though, but you know, it was an ethical one. I'm just saying, it's still cola, right? Like.
Podcasts and stuff, we just started. Bacon and eggs. Every time I try to get ahead. I ain't married, but I dream of the day that the pancakes be wed. Those who are beholden to the other people that keep on hoping. Like SNES extras, I'm silent scoping.
Very well. Very well.
Yeah, man.
Money.
Yeah. Yo.
No.
You got some stuff? Otherwise, I got nonsense from last week to follow up on. It's not even like important nonsense. It's just nonsense.
No, I really have anything in particular.
Got you.
To talk about. Just whatever I've seen during the week, I guess.
Cool. All right. So I was gonna jump right back in as I hijacked this podcast again to talk about more wrestling. There's what was I? Because we were talking about last week, like what would it take for me to like it, right, and stuff like that. And
wrestling?
So, yeah, like today, like today-ish. And so I actually ended up like I now have a favorite wrestler who's from the now era, and just kind of like it's kind of unfair, like when I say something like yo Kendrick's my favorite new rapper, I say it's unfair because Kendrick, he's just like 2 years or younger, so he grew up on the same stuff that we did, so it's kind of almost makes sense that he think like how we think, So yeah, this wrestler. I think he's like 34. He's like right next to us. So I'm like, but anyway, his name is Orange Cassidy, dude. Apparently, I think he stole most of his like wrestling gimmick from Ryan Gosling in The Driver. I've never seen that movie. Like,
it's a pretty cool movie.
Is it worth watching?
It's really interesting. Like, not the movie itself, but I don't know if it's the screenplay. I don't know what you would say, what you would call it, but like, yeah, just like the soundtrack. I don't know. It's got like a very weird vibe. That's what it like. The atmosphere of the movie is really interesting. It's a cool movie though. Yeah. There's not a lot of dialogue either. I think that's
maybe I'll check it out. So it's funny you say that it's not a lot of dialogue because like I think for the longest time, I don't think he ever talked. Ryan
Gosling's character, he like one of those characters, like just one of them dudes that just don't, he just does the job. He don't really talk too much. He don't really talk to people. He like real quiet. Like he's super, super introverted in the movie. He like Mario RPG, them RPGs with the main character.
Yeah. Don't talk.
But he just nod and talk, and that's it. And you got to fill in the words. It's like that. So
like we talked like last time, right? Like WWE don't really have any real competition, but there's always somebody trying to be number two, even though like they're not. It's not like Uber, Lyft, where like Lyft is the clear number two. There's always another number two, and like maybe one day if they're lucky, they can actually say they truly are a number two to be worried about. But yeah, anyway, there's another one called AEW, and they signed this dude. So even though they're not the real number two, they're mainstream enough that they're flexing him out and making him break away from the stuff that makes me like him. But I'll get to that. But it almost reminded me of the Wynton Marsalis quote, right? Like jazz is always here, or like there's always good music basically. But he's talking about jazz. But like whatever it is you into, pretty much, right? That shit always exists. You may just have to work for it now because it's not there. So I'm like, I ended up stumbling down the well of this dude and a few other side indie stuff. And yeah, there's still people pushing it at the indie level. There's also a lot of gaga shit too, but I won't even be talking about that. I was just talking about this Orange Cassidy dude tonight. But yeah, like to me, he's more like kind of like a Deadpool. He's not pushing it in the ECW realm where like, oh, they're doing this shit I ain't never seen before. He's pushing it in that like he's kind of just breaking it. Like he's breaking the idea of what wrestling is. Cause again, I haven't seen The Driver, but I guess he comes out looking like Ryan Gosling. Like he has his hair to the side. He got these sunglasses on. He's probably wearing a jeans and shirt, which maybe is from that movie too. I don't know. But he doesn't really care, right? He doesn't talk, doesn't really like he acts very nonchalant the whole time. I think when they introduce him, they say something silly like he's from wherever, he weighs whatever, you know. He's wearing a shirt of a picture of him wearing a shirt, you know, like of himself, you know. It's kind of like a going inside itself stupid thing. And then like this is where it becomes like Deadpool and where he's breaking it and like at least in the indie world, right? So he ain't talking the whole time and like one of his main moves is just to kind of just put his hands in his pockets and he's gonna fight you almost like Yamazaki, you know. But instead of being like serious, he's more like Slav style, like that Naruto dude. Like he's just lazy and doesn't really want to be there or doesn't really want to do anything. And when he hits you, like he's kind of doing like not even like real stuff. Like he's literally breaking it, but the crowd is like chanting like ECW style, like, oh shit, oh. And it's kind of like just breaking and kind of redefining like you know, like what wrestling is. Cause the whole thing is fake, right? So it's like, well, why can't someone just come out here and literally do, you know, 1 HP moves, you know, to you, you know, like, and so the whole thing, and usually, like, there's a lot of comedy in it in the beginning, and then somewhere along the line, it ends up being like this kind of, not full on bait and switch, but like he even got moves where he does them with his hands in his pockets, and it's like it's pretty ridiculous.
So what is he, just like One Punch Man of wrestling or something?
No. See. So a part of me. So one, there is a lot of anime I sense in his makeup of the character, but he doesn't have that anime like that second tier Super Saiyan mode. The second tier mode is usually okay. I guess I'll wrestle now. Some type of shit where he gets like.
It sounds like a cat, like a caricature of the trope of like even the Ryan Gosling character, like the quiet, too cool for school, mysterious.
That's exactly what he is.
That could like kill everybody and does everything mad ill.
But he doesn't have that because a part of me, maybe because of the anime in me, wanted maybe him to have like a second tier. Because a lot of times when people pull his hands, that's usually like one of the big moves against him, right? You try to pull the hands from his pockets. I almost wanted that anime moment because even the crowd is chanting, you fucked up. And I want that like anime, like, yo, now this guy's going to probably murder him, you know? But more often than not, it's like kind of more comical, like, or if it's going to happen, like maybe more normal wrestling, even though he is actually good and can wrestle, he just, depending on, you know, who he has to appease, what base he has to appease, more than likely, like he's going to try to use as little of it as possible, you know?
So what's redefining about this? It sounds like another
well, it
character.
was just funny just seeing like an ECW style crowd, right? Or like a very excited crowd. But when you see it at the low level, like he's like doing nothing. Like he's kind of just doing nothing. Like he's kind of just benefiting off of the idea of just like the aura. There's a lot of like, I don't know what you call it, like tap hits, right? Like instead of kicking you like to make you look like he's real, I'm gonna just kick you like, you know.
Well, the wrestling's presumed to be fake.
Yeah,
so no one's there for that in the first place, really.
But there's this whole kind of, you know, especially as you have like the older tiers of generation, there's this whole kind of like what wrestling should be, you know, similar to like how like the rappers have like this is what rap should be, you know, because there's a whole contingent of people that feels like this guy is a piece of shit, like loser guy, because he's disrespecting wrestling or whatever. Just you know,
but this isn't. I'm not a big wrestling fan, so I don't really know. It just sounds like another character. Like there's been mad character. Like I mean,
I might not be
this dude,
also explaining it the best way.
Dude? No, I'm saying he doesn't do nothing. He just literally comes in the ring and just finger taps and like that's it. He don't body slam or nothing.
Eventually, it builds up into that, depending on who he's fighting.
All right, so they still wrestle. It's just But what's the dude that used to put his hand in your mouth with a sock? I mean, like that's not at all wrestling. That's not a wrestling.
But
I mean, actually,
so he
part of that may actually be a real move.
It is a real move.
But yeah, I know. But the whole sock thing, I mean, I get it. It's just
so the sock was added later.
I just look at it as part of the act.
For sure.
Part of the showman part. Like, so I don't know. Goldust is ridiculous. It's the Undertaker. These people come out and motorcycles, and you got a pole bearer, and it's all just you're not even really gonna get people in those moves in real fights.
No, for sure. Anyway, 99% of those moves probably don't even work. But
so I don't know.
To me, because it was like a lot of the characters, no matter how outlandish they are, they're still got that like I'm here to fight and win. And just seeing that, like the man has like a moveset of moves that they're not even trying to. They're trying to sell the idea of a realism, right? Like of a world where these moves do hurt, and he's not even trying to sell that to the point. Like clearly these moves don't hurt. The other guy is also wondering like, why are you just touching my chest instead of punching me for real? You know. Like, it was just kind of, to me, breaking the stereotype tradition of, all right, I have character A and B, and this is why we're fighting, you know? It was just interesting to see.
I don't know. It just sounded like a different...
And then, like, the crowd...
It's all made... You showed me an episode where they were in...
For sure. It does it for me.
It wasn't even a wrestling match. They were in some whole team. It's a so... At the end of the day, wrestling is... Half of wrestling may be the wrestling part, like the actual them in the ring. I know it's real. People get hurt. Yeah. People may feel whatever they feel about that. The other half of wrestling, because we're not there watching real wrestling matches.
Yeah.
Everyone's here for the show, the entertainment, the storylines. This dude don't like this dude. It's a soap opera. This sound like a soap opera character.
But he's doing
literally
it in the ring.
A trope.
Yeah.
Who's literally a trope of something that too cool for school. Fonzie comes in the ring, and now he's fake. I don't see nothing too revolutionary. I mean, maybe it's shocking to see somebody be Dan in the ring, but I mean, it's like because that's what you're making it. But it's like
that might be what it is. Like, you just said it right. It's a soap opera. That might be. Usually, the soap opera stops at the ring. That's why. And to just see maybe the act continue during the match.
I don't know where you get that from.
What I mean,
stops at the ring. You mean in terms of the wrestling, like
I
guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was dope, but also
I'm not saying it's not dope.
Yeah.
It don't sound redefined. It just sounds like they got a new character with this attitude. Like it could just be another dude who randomly comes out in other people's fights, angry and beats people up for no reason.
But that's normal. We have a whole tradition of wrestlers, right? Hundreds and thousands of wrestlers of moves that at least are intended to look like they hurt. I think a move set.
I don't know. He sound like the $1 Million Man. Oh, you fixated on his wrestling moves don't hurt, but it's not like he's still wrestling. It's just in the beginning. That's what I don't understand.
It depends on the match because there's some of these matches like he don't do shit, but it's still very entertaining. But that's why I said depends.
I would just take it for more story part.
It depends on
really for the wrestling.
Yeah, like because that's what I was saying. Like that's when I say like it doesn't stop at the ring. Like usually $1 Million Man's doing whatever craziness, right? But now he's in the ring. He's gonna wrestle, and he don't got moves that are like, oh, like this is me, like they're intended to hurt, right? Even if it's fake, they're intended to hurt. They're there's a force behind them, Like clearly, it's almost like he's making a mockery of wrestling. Like it seemed like a form of like, it's not exactly breaking the fourth wall, though. There is posing too. There's posing, and if depending on the organization, like there's moves, where he ends in a pose like that. and the camera was zooming on his face, and I was like, that's amazing. Like, that's a move set involving a camera. Like, you can't do that. If you're there, you can't even get that full experience, you know? Like, you literally need to be watching this move on TV just so you can get the smile, you know? like I just thought, I don't know. It's a real good act. It's a real good act.
I see it as a show, and that's, you know, you said act.
Yeah, it's a real good act.
That's how I would describe watching wrestling.
Yeah.
Because you're just watching acts in this kind of somewhat continuous story, and this sound kind of like an interlude, like almost like a joke trailer. Like these shouldn't even be real matches, and it's almost just like a funny skit in a sense. But again, you're being shown this is all just to show. Like it literally is no different than I get the promotions.
Yeah.
Back in the day, the old promos, like those were the hype, actually the fight, right? Like making you aware, I guess. But like this is just behind the scenes nonsense. This is just this dude yelling, you getting his shit off, talking his shit, right? But it's like an interlude to me, like in a sense. It's just like,
but he's doing it in his matches, and I just found that more interesting than the norm. Because you know what I also saw yesterday, as I let the YouTube algorithm control me way too much. You remember the MMA fighter Josh Barnett, right? I forgot that he also does wrestling. I don't think I've ever saw him. So he came up fighting this Japanese guy. I can't remember his name. But turns out, and this is kind of like Japanese like stuff, which is it's more common to see people walk between worlds. So yeah, this guy is like a wrestling legend, but he's also an MMA fighter from back in the day. He actually is the co-founder of Pancrase. Do you remember Pancrase or not? It's an MMA organization where Bas Rutten started, dog. Like, that's how old this shit is, you know? So it's like they're gonna fight each other, but they're gonna fight each other in wrestling, but they're both MMA legends, and I was like, this is weird. Like, why? What is this? You got like two real fighters fighting each other in like fake ass wrestling, and then they're doing it in. I guess Josh Barnett owns this because the YouTube video is called Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. I guess named after our favorite movie. Like, because the ring, they're not fighting in a wrestling ring. They're fighting in a ring surrounded by people that honestly looks like the Bloodsport ring. It's just a platform. That's it. So it's probably there to simulate the Bloodsport feeling. But since this is all fake and then there's no ring, it was a totally different type of wrestling because you can't do the running back and forth and you can't do the climbing of ropes because there's no ring. Like you just walk down this platform and now you're in this crowd like NBA style, and it was no high flying, there's no moving, it was all kind of like simulation of grappling, and I was like, I just kind of fast forward, I was like, this is fucking boring, you know, like, but I know the wrestling purists probably love this shit, you know, but you know, it's just people holding each other for a long ass time, you know? And not even the MMA jiu-jitsu style where it's real. It's like literally holding each other. And I'm like, this is whack.
Yeah, I think a lot of new stuff is going to come out, especially from old people or people that might be considered legacy in what they did.
Yeah.
Just because now you could like make your own content. And I think there's just enough examples of like, notable, not just like regular people that was nobodies and it became like people that already had a name or a brand, like obviously could still like, you know, people are just now getting it that you could really turn a buck and still do something with your name that wasn't the thing just because you are. Mike Tyson's not a boxer no more. I know he's legendary for that, but right, like he got people watching his podcast. Lord Jamar, right? Like all sorts of people that's known, sort of.
It's just funny as you say that, right? Because I think only in the last like couple of years, as we talk about like Russ and Griselda, right? Like you just said, you can kind of turn a buck independently. There's a wrestler called Joey Ryan. I don't know too much about him because I only just literally found out about him yesterday. But it looks like because of he looks like he got caught up in June in the whole Me Too movement, you know? So I don't even know what's his situation now. But I do know he tried to countersue, and he said because now he was because of everybody canceling him, he was taking losses like in excess, he said, of $20K a month. And I was like, I ain't never heard of this dude in my life. Like this guy is looking at his YouTube and his wiki career. It looked like primarily all indie wrestling all the time, and I'm like 20 grand a month at least.
That's because people's perception of that is out of whack.
Yeah.
You think? I mean, that's good money. Don't get it twisted. That's $240,000 a year. That's $250,000 a year that he's just doing. Doing whatever. Is not, probably not working every day. Probably get to, do whatever you want. Do a few acts. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oceans, wherever it's coming from. And I'm not saying it's easy.
No.
I'm just saying
I was just like, I was more saying that
outlanded.
as an amazement to man, like most wrestling fans would probably never hear this dude, right? Because most wrestling fans in America are probably WWE, and yet this guy's still making a nice six-figure salary, even though he'll probably never be able to cross
wrestlers,
over.
Like, what do you think wrestlers make like that? Like, do people even, unless you're actually into that industry, like, what would your guess be?
I wasn't
what was your idea
shocked
of
by
what
it so much. I was shocked by it that even at the indie level, like he was able to do that. Now, keep in mind, like,
no, this is what I'm saying though. What did you think? You think that that's a good number? You're kind of surprised that wow, an indie guy could make $20,000 a month. That means that it exceeds whatever you thought he should be. Like if it said 30,000, you would have been like, oh, yep, figures. The indie wrestler dude broke, only making 30 or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But it's way more. So like, yo, I'm just almost asking, like, what do we expect an indie wrestler to make?
I get it.
Thinking about it.
Part of that is my fault because I'm new to this coming back now via like a YouTube wormhole versus like, in my mind, indie wrestling still looks like it did when I actually gave a shit about wrestling. And that's like 20 to 30 years ago. And times have changed, Because just skimming at this dude's wiki, it looked like all the stories we always talk about. Yeah, he was a wrestler, but guess what? He was ownership in a lot of shit, of indie wrestling, So he kind of just kept going from there and selling the product and whatever, and owning promotions and whatnot, But yeah, like in my mind, I don't think I've updated that. Hey, dude, it's not 1999. There's choice now. There's opportunity now,
I mean, what would they even getting paid today? Like, or even back then, what would the equivalent
so
be?
Back then, I don't know, but it definitely seemed like if you hear anybody's story in the 90s, like, man, if I really want to make it, I better make it to one of the big boys because they're the only ones who pay real money,
See, I need numbers.
I know, you're right.
Perception of
you're right, but
of what that means is crazy, and then it comes to find out
it's not even.
This person actually is to them they're not, but to you, you'd be like, wait a minute, what you mean? You making 100 and whatever? You doing this? That's the struggle life for you. It just all depends. I just don't know. I can't see it being like worth less than 50K. Like I can't, unless you at some real struggle phase. Like I don't know. Like unless you really care about it and just
it do seem like at that level, like that indie level, it's kind of you are your own brand because you don't never belong to anybody, right? So it's kind of what you do with it and how you work it. Because I
kind of like touring. I mean,
yeah, exactly that. Because you never belong to nobody the way you belong to somebody at the WWE level,
and that might be how you could surprisingly make 20K because you don't know. Like do you know who says the same things? There's rappers that are not big that they make mad money a month doing. You know what? Little spots here, little spots here. They might collect 5,000 going to one place, another 3,000 at another place, some little hole in the wall joint, not even know, you know what I'm saying? And this isn't obviously big acts. And at the end of the month, they did 3-4 shows. They might make 20K. Yeah. Now, obviously, you got to be a certain status to even be able to do that. But I'm just saying, even in wrestling, like, I don't know how many wrestling events go on, so who knows? You might be able.
Man, it looked like a lot.
You might be able to grab up.
It looked like there's a lot. That's what it looked like.
You go to the right ones, you might be able to make some bucks. You know what I'm saying? Like
the other thing I noticed watching some of his matches, there were quite a few matches where he fought women, and they always called them intergender matches, and I was like, that's kind of interesting because I was like, if you hear like professionals I'm sorry. Let me get it. If you hear a word,
What about China? China was getting it in.
What do you mean?
China.
What are we talking? Wait, hold on.
Rest in peace, China. She was getting it in with the dudes.
Okay.
You know what I
I'm
mean?
sorry. I thought the country China. I was like, wait,
Nah,
what?
I know that's what you
I was
thought
like,
when I
why is
said
he
that.
bringing
Nah.
up China?
China.
No, you're right.
China.
You're right.
Gold dust. Gold dust.
But
Who-
China,
Gold Dust
China,
is
so
repping
China is the
that-
only, and Goldust is a G. Gold, you know that man is still.
Goldust was really, really. You know what I mean?
First
like
off,
all of the way.
Goldust, his entrance music's amazing. Secondly, that guy was made in an era. What? Was that you doing this? That guy comes from an era where they were still advertising for children, and I'm like, yo, I can't believe someone okayed this. Like, forget it. It's for Gold.
Living your truth. You can't tell Gold Dust who to be.
Yo, so that dude is actually still wrestling right now, and like, not as Goldust because WWE owns it, but he just left, so he was still doing Goldust things for like just recently, and I'm like, I can't believe that shit was still running. People were still rocking the Goldust even now, but like to the point he's doing the LeBron James dream. They're in that company AEW that I said is kind of the number 2, except not really, and he's in there wrestling with his son. They're in the same thing together. He's doing the LeBron James thing, you know, because I think LeBron James said he don't want to retire till his son get there and they can play together at least once, you know. Where was I going with all this? So I was like, yeah, like how come at this point, like, yeah, like how come more women aren't fighting men in wrestling? Because the whole thing is fake, and I know one of the reasons why, especially at least at the mainstream level, because at least when they were talking about the history of all this is what I was saying. To me, why I find it the guy before Orange Cassidy groundbreaking, because I guess mainstream wrestling dominates a lot. So they have these rules, and like he's kind of breaking them.
Damn, you're not gonna give China her respect for breaking it in for women.
She's the only. I think she's still the only female to be an intercontinental title holder. Not like women champion, though she probably got that too. Maybe, I don't know. I would hope so, but she actually won the man's title. Yeah. She won a man's title. She's the only woman to ever do that, and a lot of people think probably gonna stay that way. That she might be the only woman to ever do that. She
stayed getting it in with them too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
But what I'm saying is, like, at that level, at that mainstream level, they would argue it's not believable for a woman to fight, man. I'm like, yo, this whole thing is fake. You can control all of that shit.
Back in the day, yeah.
Because there's a I don't know if you remember the girl Sable.
Yeah, I remember Sable.
She rose to popularity in excess of her husband, and so like they kind of have a breakup in their storyline relationship, and then later on it leads to real life breakup. But the ending of their storyline thing is that she power bombs him, and like that's a woman, not even China, like who's actually looks like she can fight. A normal pretty woman power bombs this guy, you know, and that was apparently destroyed his whole career. And like from then on, he ends up like having to leave the company. Like the next week, Stone Cold was supposed to fight him. He called up Vince McMahon. He's like, I ain't having no guy fight me that just got power bombed by Sable, you know. But it's just like, but it's fake. It's like who, you know, like who cares? Because I saw some woman fight this guy.
You say that, but again, obviously people find this entertaining on some level, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, this is all nonsense.
Yeah.
This is a fake soap opera story, and it's fake wrestling and to a certain degree, right? Like I still predate. I still know they're doing real things.
Yeah. Stuntman activities. Yeah.
But it's not right. But I mean, check it on TV shows. People will get upset if somebody is killed off. People will get upset when somebody betrays people. These things, people watch soap. Have you ever watched a soap opera, like a real soap opera? Of course,
I've seen novelas in Espanol.
Nuts.
I've seen.
Are crazy.
I can't remember what Korean dramas are called in Korean, but yes, I've seen all of them. I've seen them all. I've seen all of them.
Portals in them. It'd be like comic book stuff happening in them. Man.
Yo, the Korean ones. I saw one of the Korean ones I saw a long time ago was about the nine-tailed fox.
Yeah, and he also happened to be cheating on Brenda's cousins
Yeah.
and had a baby. And
Yeah.
like, you're just like, wait, what?
He got
So
9
I'm
tails
just
for a
saying,
reason.
people like, you know, like it drives people. So it's important, you know, how to tell the story, right? Because you could end the movie wrong. You could take a plot twist the wrong way. So what you're saying, you think about the time, and yes, that society wise, it would have just been weird, one, to see dudes beating up on chicks, the whole chick's body slang. Like these aren't acceptable. This isn't a narrative that anybody would go along with, or, you know, necessarily rock with in any kind of way. So I could see from a business perspective, and I'm just telling the story for people to like, yo, they probably made all sorts of, you watch the show, I'm sure they made all sorts of story decisions, for whatever reasons, like, nah, we're not going to do that. But yeah, today, obviously it would be more acceptable to see that, because I think society is just
so I think
more
at a mainstream
open
level,
to seeing that.
you wouldn't see that still, I think. So it was interesting to see that at the indie level. There's a lot of matches with him fighting a woman, but there was one in particular, I can't remember her name. I feel bad because I ended up watching the whole match, and I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, this woman, both of them are doing I'm watching moves that I've never seen done from a man to a woman, and vice versa. And I'm like, this is incredible. Like, I didn't even know like that shit was possible, because I just not had seen that before.
There's stunt men, like you said, at the end of the day. Like, there's stunt women. Like, it's not all stunt dudes for movies and stuff. So like, it's just a skill set. It's not like it's a real MMA people where people now might want to debate, well, there's a difference between a man's body and a woman, and is it fair for Mike Tyson to be boxing a female? All of the debates.
Yeah, but that's real.
Here, but
that's real.
Right. This is just like choreography.
Yeah.
And to a certain extent, you know what I'm saying? It could be dangerous nonetheless and hurt and takes physical stuff, but so does the Olympics, so does football, so does any other.
No, for sure. I was just shocked to see it, and I was just like, man, you would never see this at the mainstream level, because at the mainstream level, they would be selling more of that initial narrative we were just talking about, you know? Like, you can't
I'm just saying, to your point, it's weird. It doesn't really make sense. Like you said, it's not real. Yeah. Why do we even care about it?
That's what I'm
just
saying.
Stunt work at the end of the day. Like, it shouldn't matter.
I was like, yo, she's gonna be like that. She should just be like another one. She should be another China. She should just be right there with the dudes, because this girl is like popping shit. She's doing some crazy shit. I mean,
you probably see more. I don't watch wrestling now, but I bet you see more.
There's a lot more women
stuff,
but you don't necessarily see what I saw maybe in that match all the time. You know, like
it'll get there. That's just telling you right there that is
the reason why
that is moving in that direction.
The reason why I say I don't know is because, again, this was an indie match, and so here, this will lead me to the hopefully maybe the last time I mentioned Orange Cassidy, the Ryan Gosling fellow, because now he is on that AEW show, which is probably what led me to find out about him in the first place. So I saw him do some of this, and I was like, what the fuck am I watching right now? Initially, you know? But so that led me to just watch a bunch of stuff in the AEW, but then a bunch of stuff in his indie. And it's just like, man, yo, like, what is it about commercialism that, like, it's always like, okay, that's cool, bro, but you can't do that here, you know? Because, you know, now he kind of has to talk, like, every now and then. They surround, one of the cheap wrestling tricks is to surround people who don't talk. You surround them with someone else to be their microphone, you know? So they have surrounded him with two people, but every now and then they force him to talk. Like, I literally saw a match when I told David, DAM, told David next, right? Like, yo, man, like, because I know he still follows it. Yo, this is this dude, Orange Cassidy, he's fucking dope, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yo, he's fighting for the title tonight. So I was like, let me watch it on Wednesday. And then I text David like, yo, man, had this been the first match I seen of this dude, I would have just moved on. I would have been like, cool, this was normal wrestling, you know? And I'm like, what is it about mainstreamification of almost anything where it just takes the dope shit and kind of like compresses it into like another one, you know? like, because now I'm like, well, if he's just gonna do this, I'm like, you know, more props to him, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. But I was like, this is just another wrestler now. Like I can't none of those cool things that made him stood out that he's doing in the indies. I was like, he wasn't even doing them no more. He's doing wrestling things, and I'm like, he was cool because he was doing non-traditional wrestling things. But if he's just another one of the boys, I'm like, well, I might go somewhere else now, you know? Like, so, and we've said that with
Yeah.
rap growing up and going all the way back to high school. You see that with games, you see that with fighting games, you see that with everything, you know?
It might just be something to like certain things being done that just it's probably obviously a lot of mix of things. People are already socialized to like place a certain value on certain things like brands and things that are already big and things like outside of even just the value or function of the thing itself. People get other things from like wearing a certain brand of shirt.
Yeah.
Like NK, where it really doesn't have anything to do with anything. But so I think that comes into play into why things that are just attached to something that's already bigger, like obviously you're gonna just do more, be more visible. With that, people just gonna be able to connect with it easier. But maybe there's something to just the simplification of things, because that's kind of what we say in a nutshell, right? Like the music is simpler, it's not as
Yeah.
complicated. People aren't doing as cool. The
Reach a
games are
wider
simpler.
base.
They're not
Yeah.
as technical. They're not just not as cool. Wrestling, nobody's doing any cool stuff. They're just still doing the same stuff. It might be something to just simple stuff being more acceptable. But like the market,
And
it's
there
not so
is.
much either that
Yeah.
is it the businesses force this? I'm sure to a certain degree they try to influence, but the market says that this watered down shit is actually good.
But
It's not that.
does it sometimes though?
So then we're assuming that the market is lying or they're being tricked or something
No,
like
or
that.
it's
But if
maybe
you're
some people
assuming
haven't taken the chance because because right, this goes back to what
some people
happens
haven't taken a chance to do what?
because this goes back to like if we go back to the 90s, right, with where WWE was doing the watered down shit and they don't start pushing the edge until they're forced to because now they have a competitor who's starting to push the edge and then they see what's going on in the underground and then they're like, all right, well, we can take some of this for us. But they only had an interest in it because I guess as you saying, I feel like I'm arguing for you now. Like the market said we like the edge now, you know?
Right.
But I'm saying that they would have never known that the market liked the edge if someone else didn't go out there and do it.
You can make new markets.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can make markets for things that don't exist. A lot of things that we at some point nothing you a headset on your head didn't exist. There
Yeah.
wasn't a market for it. Sometimes the market determines things that are made. Sometimes the market asks for something in a way, and so people respond and make it. And sometimes there's people come up with new stuff that there didn't exist a need for it before. People didn't even know to want this or need it or anything like that. And people make something new that people are just like, wow, now it is a new market. So it goes both ways. It's not so much that new stuff can't and all right, like you thinking about things on a if you're thinking on a business level, the effort that it may take me to create something new that is actually just as cool, pushing the envelope may not work. I could do it. It might be cool, but we're in the business of making money too. We're not in the business of just making cool. It's cool if it make money, if people think it's cool. So
Yeah.
if we push the envelope and it don't hit, we're not going to push the envelope in that direction, or we're not going to do that anymore because we're in business. We're not in the business of art for the sake of art or some little group of people doing this on the weekend and they just enjoy it for the enjoying it. Like a lot, we're talking about at a level why when things get commercial because they're dealing with making money and this is now a product. This is something they're selling. It's not just the thing for the thing anymore. You know what I'm saying? And so things operate accordingly. You know what I'm saying? So if the old formula is working for me from a business standpoint, if I just want to push the envelope to push the envelope's sake to try to make a new market, I got to do research. I got to start doing a new thing, right? Like, is it going to work? We got to find who likes it. We're like, it's not just let me go from a business perspective, it's not just let me just go fucking push the envelope. Nobody's gonna in Hollywood, they green light and shit. So you go to Hollywood, they'll let you push the envelope wherever the fuck. There ain't no envelopes in Hollywood. Ain't even no envelopes. But in most other places, right? Like people aren't just green lighting
everything.
They want data, right? Like you talk about the Netflix stuff and the deals people were getting, and we had like a conversation a while ago. Well, we're only going to give you something based on what you did somewhere else. A lot of people, right? Like,
yeah,
they want info. Is this gonna sell? If we want to go for potential, we'll go for potential and take a shot in the dark. R&D, right? I don't know. We'll see what it is, but that's intensive. That takes resources. So formula shit is already working, and all we got to do is change the color on the box and switch it a little bit and put a hat on it now, and it's just same thing. And just why are we gonna take the risk? Time, energy to do all of those things from a business perspective. So that's probably always fighting with any creative aspect of like, yo, let's try something new. Let's do something new. And we talked about it last time in technology. That's not the case because that's almost counter to like the function of technology, right? Like it just advances. That's just what it is in its own nature. So of course, in places where technology is super deep, or it's really focused on that, you see a lot of advances in places for the scientists and sciences where discovery is the function, right? Like understanding, finding, figuring out. That's where you see a lot of the advance. Where have you seen a lot of advances anywhere else other than medicine and technology? Depending how you want to use the term technology. Everything's technology, but if we want to talk like the tech sector, computer kind of aerospace kind of stuff, where else you seen innovation at really? On the roads, the internet itself, right? You don't see nothing there.
Yeah.
Nothing. Food ain't really got innovated that much. Not too many things really. Cars ain't, right? Like that's sort of getting changed now.
For some of those things you're saying, it seems, I mean, it's similar to like the indie thing I was saying. It seemed like on micro levels, but not so much on a mainstream, you know? Like there's people trying things on the edge in micro, you know, economies here and there, you know?
Because I think when people are at an indie level,
you're beholden to less.
There's still other motivations than just
money.
What Global Tech Inc. gives a fuck about, right? Like you know, it's kind of cold and emotionless, but like it's bigger than that. Where these aren't concerns at this level, but just even at like an individual level, like an artist, I could see an artist being different in their indie state, just like them being at a different place as a person. Whereas, right, later on, you're a professional artist, like your lifestyle's probably more in a certain, right? Like, optimize this shit, right? Like you might not want to push the envelope. I'm just saying the indie environment probably is a better environment to breed people pushing the envelope because it isn't big yet. It might be trying to make a new market. That might be the place where they are pushing the envelope before it gets big, before Uber is before all of the little startups get eaten up, right? It's just the people coming together and pushing the envelope, right? How profitable is it is another thing, right? Technology is different. People could go and team up and make the next new app that does this, and everybody wants it. Other things may not be quite so, right? Like everyone is so enticed, or it's such a game-changing thing. Music may not be like that, right? Like maybe sports isn't, maybe other things. It's just not like, all right, cool. It's indie and small and pushing the envelope, but is it gonna make money? The tech shit, like, we don't know they don't even know if it's gonna make money, but the shit just so crazy and like they could see so much potential in it. This shit don't exist. This could solve so many problems. They'll throw $1 billion at it. Just don't even, let's just see what these shits aren't even profitable. This is real life, right? Like these companies ain't even profitable yet. They still getting people to give them money because there's people see value in it. I don't know what X person is gonna see in indie wrestler A, or right, like any person that's got the bag or got the thing or whatever. right? Like, what's business gonna see in you,
Mm.
right? You got to bring something to the table too, and at that point, now you're in the realm of being commercial. So all of that push the envelope shit, you hear, unless you afforded that luxury, and that's the nature of that business, and that's a value or a tenant that they like to push. We like to do creative things, and we don't care if we make money, and that's how we try to whatever. Most places, formula ABC equals money. You keep doing ABC equals money. Don't add a C. Don't tweak it. Don't add a square root without proper research, right? So long spiel, but I think that's where that
I
why you
mentioned
see that.
I mentioned last week too. This is the wrestling episode part 2, I guess. But I mean, I mentioned last week that as we talk about mainstreamification, that WWE has an era called the PG era, and I was like, initially I thought the fans kind of named it that as a diss, but actually WWE themselves calls that era the PG era, which I was like, really? like that, to actually have the company themselves call it that and be like the PG era, this is the whack shit or the family shit.
Right.
And someone I've kind of read yesterday, and I don't know if this is true, but it might. I mean, it's easily looking up above, but it doesn't sound too far-fetched. That the PG era, the only reason it happened was because his wife, Linda McMahon, ran for Senate, and they couldn't have, that company out there doing all this crazy, pushing the ads on a variety of level stuff. So maybe they needed to rein it in if she wanted to really have a realistic shot at winning the Senate. Because now you in the eyes of people, it's not just about making money, And at that point, since you own your competitors, who's going to kill you? Who's going to, so.
Right. Competition is good. I think some things are good that they stay indie. I think just something to like artists and stuff and small restaurants and brands, or maybe even a clothing maker that just makes quality stuff. They don't make a lot of it. It's just not going to have a big audience, but it's super ill.
Yeah.
And it might even still demand a premium price. A lot of people will still pay. When people say indie, it almost, I want to say something else too about, remind me of the benefits of commercialism.
The benefits.
But when people say indie stuff, it almost has like a negative connotation to it, right? Like there's like a stereotype around it, right? Like it's the cool stuff, it's the artsy stuff, it's the artisan, it's the handmade, but it's not popular, right? It's not well known, it's not seen that much, but that's not always the case. A lot of niche shit is niche, but it's popular to that niche, and it demands a high price for whatever kind of reason, rarity. It's
Would
unique.
Those shirts fall into those things? Those shirts from a few years ago. It was like a hip hop shirt or a fashion shirt. I can't remember what it was called. That they used to sell it in like, I don't know, some spot in LA or some shit, like once a month, similar to the whole Griselda, like once a month kind of.
Yeah, might have been a cool, trendy kind of thing. I'm just saying, there's things that have dedicated followings that are, not well known, and they have a very good, strong, healthy market, even for a business type. But people aren't necessarily asking for you to simplify it. People some just want it exactly the way it is. You know what I'm saying? And we'll pay for it just like that. So it's not always negative. The positive of commercialism, I think, is one, right? Like, everything commercial comes from indie for the most part. At some point, right? Like present day, it used to be a startup, or he used to be an indie artist before he got signed, right? Like a lot of things start off, and then this guy was doing his indie wrestling thing before. Now he's doing, whatever.
Every tech company, right? I mean, pretty much.
But that brings some level of coolness to the masses. It does make them aware in some sort of palatable way, like, hey, there are these things. Yeah, it might be the kind of slow stuff, but that does have a benefit for everybody. And the fact that it is slow and kind of has the properties that you talk about offers incentive for the indie or any other competitor
To push
to
it.
push the envelope, because we are still in the business of business. We're not the only ones in business. So it ain't everybody just sitting around happy getting what they get. So the competition breeds it. Tech, everybody looking for the best new idea. Maybe the problem of wrestling is not as many big. I don't know what the market looks like for wrestling and that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. Like you say, these people are up and coming, or they're the number two. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people will start pushing back, and that may force somebody to now make electric engines. It may force you to start doing something else on your show, because now these people made a new fucking market. You can't let that happen, because that's going to lose money. They're trying to make money. So if they can't get enough market in the current market share, that may be motivation to make a new market. Like, yo, we can't get any more out of this area. We can't take no more from Apple. We need to do something else. Or you know what I'm saying? Like, we need to get another thing. We need to do something. So, you know, it's not all, it all kind of flows into each other. It's so much power concentrated up there. It just seemed like they could keep things
Yeah.
and more to their liking, depending on the industry that you in. But the market determines the power to the people. People have the power, dog. People have the power. The market determines. The market likes it. People might start running to go make it. The market don't like it. They'll trash it. Unless you a genius and you making up new markets and making up things people didn't even know they wanted. That's his own thing. Other than that, hey, I mean,
market, son.
The economics of wrestling.
That was the benefits of commercialism right there, right? That was your thing, right?
It brings it to the masses, and that it I think it keeps an incentive for people like you, but if they're on the creative edge that are looking at the landscape, even if they're looking to make money, are like, hey, what's going on? Everybody's doing the same fucking thing. Do people want something else? That people do product research. What's missing from this? What is not in this that people want? What are people not doing here? And then you go ahead like, fuck this wrestling shit. I make the new shit. Is it successful or not? The market will determine, right? You got to do certain things to get it to the market. But the market will determine if that's actually the next hot thing or just some shit you think is fucking hot or whatever the case, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. That makes an environment for people to look at it just like y'all all doing the same shit. Why? Nah, is gonna keep the creators hungry, looking at the same pictures in the art gallery. Fuck this, right? Let's splash something all over the wall, right? So
let's do that.
It serves its own yin and yang kind of purpose.
I got you. Right? I got you.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Gotta take the good with the bad, I guess. I ain't mad at him. His business though. I ain't making this shit off. I ain't asking for it either. That's the thing. We ain't demanding it enough for them to do the things that we ask. Not enough of us, obviously. So you get what you ask for, right? You get it because you asked for it. So whatever wrestling look like, the masses must be happy with it. They
keep showing up. That's the problem. They keep showing up. Because I do remember, at least in my day, I can't speak to now, because I was talking to David, because he follows us more now. And I was like, yo, some of these crowds, man, they be, even if they make noise, they're very like, you know, this. Like, they're very calm. Even if they're like good stuff. Even if I hear the yelling, I'm like, they're very calm. Unless it's indie. If it's indie, then it's a bunch of random people you don't want to be around her because they're just loud and rowdy, you know? But yeah, they're very calm. But like, I know in my day, like, you know, they used to chant things, like even on the main one, and you know, they wouldn't always get those things, even though that's what they wanted, you know. And it was very cool because the crowd would be counter the programming that was going on, and I was like, that's dope. Those people paid money and they're still hating the product, you know, which might also sound idiotic, but you know, it at least gave a entertaining thing to watch and hear on TV.
Right. Some things I think can not only evolve so far, but some things probably have like a certain natural peak too. I'm just saying, I'm not saying that specifically about wrestling or anything you saying. Just thinking about products like, right, like how much can you change Pepsi or Coca-Cola, right? Like
I mean, hey, we got rid of cocaine, right? At some point.
I mean, it's evolved, yes. Probably not to their benefit.
You could change it.
It probably wasn't a good business move though, but you know, it was an ethical one. I'm just saying, it's still cola, right? Like you could add a little change, right? Like you ain't gonna redefine cola. Like nobody's gonna redefine.
First, I love that stuff, but it needs to die. But I mean, you know, in America, I wouldn't have minded. I don't even know if this is a good counter because they're both bad for you. But I would have preferred if America, for those companies, they use the sugar cane instead of the high fructose. You know,
right. But it's still that's not revolutionizing.
It's not.
It used to have it and cocaine.
I think cocaine maybe might be more revolutionizing.
Put the crap health fake things in it, but it's not even healthy. So just left it in there. It's basically acid. But yeah, no.
I wonder if they leave cocaine in there. Does cocaine get legalized like the way maybe other narcotics have gotten legalized?
Yeah, probably because it's a popular drink. Yeah. Yo, first off, I wonder when they pulled it because I think they were sending Coca-Cola to like troops overseas.
I heard it in the book that we both read.
They built the factory over there just to supply Coca-Cola.
The book about killing. Yeah, they actually mention it in On Killing. Yes, they mention it in that book. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. But if it had Coke, that's kind of crazy though. Like it had the soldiers all hopped up, ready to kill Nazis. Like, you know what I'm saying? No wonder the Americans won. Fucking Coca-Cola. Good old American Coca-Cola.
It wasn't just for freedom. It wasn't just for free.
Good old American Coca-Cola. Coked out fucking U.S. allies. Crushing the Nazis. They won't stop. They just keep coming on the beach. Nah, but yeah. I don't know.
Yo, so
I want to point something out real quick.
Do it.
This is random side note. We don't have to stay on it, but there was the baby article I sent you. Remember the babies?
Hold that. If it's about baby, is it about babies?
No, it's not.
Okay.
No.
Because I was like, because we could go on that too, but I'm like, since we in the wrestling world,
there's an article about all the babies. That there was a lot of different babies.
Okay.
And the article even said like they've overcome the littles. Like it referenced that the littles used to be the previous generation. Now it's like the baby. Now we're in the baby era. But there's some interesting things that happen in politics. I know this is even more of a segue. But recently, Trump met with none other than Lil Wayne. Weezy F Baby. This is true. Yes. I'm not even going to say
Weezy F Baby come from? Where's the Weezy?
Listen, that's what he used to say. So I don't know what that
like, he can't
Lil Wayne is known as Weezy.
I remember that part. I remember the Weezy F Baby, and that probably comes because of Baby. That comes from Baby, because from Big Baby.
Weezy, yeah, right.
From Baby.
But, I mean, other than Trump meeting with Lil Wayne, and I'm not going to go into my narrative and what I obviously know about Lil Wayne meeting Trump. Clearly, you're not going to admit it on the show. I'm just going to pass over it. But anyway, so I guess Young Jeezy endorsed Joe Biden, and there's some kind of back and forth. Again,
really? Wait. Jeezy. Okay, I had to put it.
I'm not going to go too deep into, again, these rap political
Are we going to have rap beefs over who we voting for? Is that the new diss track?
Look, I already predicted. You already know the future. I already told you. I'm not going to keep my head because they'll come for me. But I told you, I predicted these things years ago. Did I not tell you these things were going to happen? Like, word for word. Like, yo, you're going to see, watch. Anyway, there was another little niche generation of names, and they're all related to politics. So look, Trump has Kanye on his side, and he's got a Wheezy. So he's got two Easies. He's winning right now. Yeezy and Wheezy. Biden only has a Jeezy.
Jesus.
He's only got a Jeezy.
This is ridiculous.
He's only got one. So I want to know, are there any other like
first off,
Easy rappers?
just so that this continues into the wrestling podcast that we're doing, that Trump not only was in the WWE, But he's also in the WWE Wrestling Hall of Fame 2014
Has a feature
inducted.
from Lil Wayne. You make the call.
I'm just saying. Continue. Sorry.
You make the call. You know what I mean? You make the call.
We have a wrestler as president. That's all I'm trying to say.
And he's got a feature from Lil Wayne and beats from Kanye. You make the call. And Ice Cube. Know what I mean? I don't know. You make the call. That's all.
So all right. So Wayne and Kanye. Though Kanye's not for him no more because he's for him now.
Yeezy and Yeezy.
Yeah, I got you. But Yeezy's for himself now. I hope he's voting for himself. If he ain't voting for himself, what are we doing?
Oh, you're talking about political support. Yes.
Yeah, Yeezy. I'm just saying.
Yeezy would be probably voting for himself.
Yeah. That's past. Kanye has taken his talents elsewhere now.
But he's still down with Trump, though. He's still cool with him.
Maybe after November, but until
he
then.
Made beats.
Until then.
Yeah, they got albums both coming out, so they're not obviously going to be collabing. But, they cool.
Jeezy is for the Biden. That's funny. That don't even just seeing that in my head don't even make sense.
Now look. I'm just saying, look at who's aligned with who from a rap perspective. It's Cardi B, Jeezy. I like some of Jeezy's stuff. Don't get me wrong.
It's the coastal cities. Wait, where's Wayne from?
I like Trap Motivation 101.
Wayne's from here. Wayne's from here.
Look at who.
Wayne's from Middle America. Is that Louisiana, right?
He's from Louisiana.
That's Middle America, right? That's Middle America.
South.
Kanye,
yeah.
He's not.
Chicago.
He wasn't born. Was he born in Chicago?
We'll just say Chicago. Whatever. That's all Chicago.
I mean, I guess that's Middle America, but in reality, that's blue town.
That's working class blue. Yeah,
that's a blue. But I mean, technically, if we look on a map,
straight from the. You know where Ice Cube's come. Come on, we don't even gotta go there. Yeah, 50. You know what I mean?
And why? All right, so we got some coming from the coast. We got some for Trump. So yeah.
Now let's look at their catalogs. Now this is what I want you to look at 50's work. All right.
Yeah.
Got 50. Got Wayne, Kanye. Right. Obviously, huge influence on the game. Ice Cube.
Yeah.
And this young Jeezy.
To be fair, Ice Cube didn't say he was gonna vote for him. He just worked with him.
Look. He did a feature.
Hey, real quick, because Kim Kardashian, Kanye's wife, did Letterman. I saw half of it at my mom's, and the interview show they do, and she's trying to be a lawyer, or she's doing the lawyer stuff now. So I could totally see her being in the government in the future, but she too has worked with Trump, just like Ice Cube did to do things,
Look, I'm talking. Think about these.
You only want rappers. You only want rappers, though.
Who has the better features? You know what I'm saying?
That was the most ridiculous question. Serious asking of a ridiculous question.
Who has the better features as of right now? Because Joe Biden's looking kind of shaky with his features on.
I would say Trump, just in personal preference, because I probably don't want to hear Jeezy or Cardi B.
It seems more original. It seemed like Joe Biden is experimental with this album. He getting battle rappers on the album. He got Cardi B for the new people.
That would be good though. That means he's pushing the edge, right? Technically, I should want to be there.
Is he? Was he just trying to get
you said he getting battle rappers. Ain't nobody winning with battle rappers. Okay, dog. Ain't nobody winning with that.
He is up and coming. He trying to hop on anything hot. But who's authentic? Who's coming with the old flavor, right? Sticking to their old.
You know who came with the old flavor?
Why you WCW,
and they lost because they didn't want to put the new blood. They didn't want to use the new blood. They didn't want to use the new blood, dude.
Who has the better features? Answer. Oh, you said Trump. You did say.
Yeah.
You said Trump.
Well, I said not that they were better. I like the people on his side more.
He has better features.
But Biden has more of the new people. I wouldn't call Jeezy new. I'm not talking about who's
supporting. I'm talking about features. He's got the better features.
Sure.
Right. I'm just saying, for whatever that's worth out there.
There you go.
I'm not saying to base your political views on who has the hottest features on there.
But I mean, isn't it how it goes anyway? We're always basing not our views, but our vote usually on something dumb.
So which one sounds more like hip hop to you? Then is the question.
Because I mean, None of them
Which
shit sound like hip hop. I don't know what hip hop's even doing with any shit. Why ain't none
no,
of
I'm
y'all
talking
supporting
about between.
Kanye?
I'm talking about no in between Biden and Trump. Which one's more hip hop?
Oh, Trump's not even close.
All
It's not
right.
even
See, oh,
close.
you
It's not
came
even
right out.
close.
You
It's not
came
even
right out. All
close.
right, there you go.
I mean,
All
he's
right,
from New
very
York,
well.
dude. Just the way he act. Come on, that whole personality.
Right,
Like, come
for
on,
sure.
chill.
Anyway,
Yeah.
all right. So yeah, I just want to bring up they all had easy names. I thought that there's
Yeah,
Easy,
yeah.
there's a Jeezy, there's a Wheezy. There might be some other Easies out there too that I'm unaware of. A Sleazy, a Deezy. I don't know.
Sleazy, the bass god. That's a name
So what
waiting to
did you want to
happen.
say about babies? Babies, you want us to talk about
No,
babies?
because you were gonna tell me. You told me already about babies overcoming the
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 Littles.
Lils.
The name choice, I think.
Yeah, and I was like, yo, man, like I'm not into changing mine. I'm probably gonna ride this name until we ruin it, and then at a certain point, I'll be so nice I can just make another name, and I'll be a quote unquote overnight success. So it
No
won't
Boost
even matter.
Baby?
I was thinking about Baby Boosh.
Baby Boost.
Baby Boosh.
Low Baby Boost?
I can just not little baby. That's that's like that's trying to reach everybody. Like for the littles and the babies. Nah, you gotta pick one. You can't just be like
That's
yo.
keywords. I think you're just adding things
Just,
to the
is that the new way to make a rap name? Use the keyword engine to see what the kids, the people
baby.
like.
Yeah, Baby Lil.
Pick
Baby
one.
Lil and then something crazy like Baby Little Ivan the Terrible. Like, because people are kind of rocking names like that now, too.
Yeah, just something that happened already, but then like bad baby in
Benny the
it.
Butcher, Stove God, Cooks. I'm starting to see all kind
Stove
of
God. See, that sounds ridiculous, but I can see that
John
being
the
like a drug
Destroyer.
dealer.
People are getting the
Hey, hold on.
titles are kind of coming
Is
in.
there a rapper called John the Destroyer? Because that just sounds like some
No,
Greek,
no,
a
no,
Greek rapper.
no,
That sounds like a Greek, like Greek mythology rapper.
Nah, that's what I'm aware of. There's
I
no
hope
rapper
so.
called
I'm kind of sad we don't got John the Destroyer out there. You know?
John the Destroyer. Yeah,
Yeah.
nah, he'd be pretty good.
Achilles heel out here, just like rapping. Shit.
Griselda has a lot of those, right? Benny the Butcher, Conway the Machine,
West Side don't have a duh. Oh, West Side Gun. He has West Side
his
Gun.
West Side Gun.
Yeah. I be forgetting
But,
these second halves, yo, because I only call them by their first names.
R.A. the Rugged Man.
Yo, what's RA mean? Real ass?
Yeah, I think so. Nah, I honestly don't know.
Let me think.
Lil Bill dropped something today. But anyway, what are you gonna say about wrestling? Are you going back into
I was gonna, yeah. I mean, well, now we moved so forward. I don't even know if it's worth it to go back. But I was saying, like, man, we did so much wrestling shit. I was like, well, the last two things I had on that was like, I told you about the independent contracts they have and how they trying to take their Twitch money away. I heard they trying to take that you can't do Cameo anymore if you work for WWE. Basically, they don't want you making any money on your own if you work for them. Like, seems to be the thing. Which, you know, like, without diving too deep into it, because it's like, all right, this is for them to fight. But it's just like, man, it's the weirdest independent contractor situation I ever seen. Like some people were saying, like, you should be able to do that, but, you know, of course you can't wrestle for no one else. And I was like, if you're an independent contractor, why not? Like, I drove for Uber, and you know what I did when I didn't drive for Uber? I drove for Lyft, and then I would drive for Uber. Because you know why? Because I was an independent contractor and not an employee. So I was like, yo, unless they played some exclusivity money, like, why can't you just jump around and like, yo, I'm going to go work for Steve on Sunday because he offered me $50K and I'm off. So, you know, like, I don't understand that shit. But yeah, but that's what happens when, you know, there is only one big boss in town. You know, they're like, yeah, you're still an independent contractor, but yeah, you got to adhere to these big boss rules, you know? But I just found that amazing. Like, yo, Cameo, they only getting like $100 or whatever it is. You seen what Cameo is, you know? Like, really? You're not allowed to get $100 because you want to tell somebody happy birthday? You know, like that's crazy.
Like, yeah, it's probably some reason for it. It's probably not as petty as they don't want them to get $100. Like that.
I don't know the real reason. Some people. And this could be both true and fake, and maybe not fake in that it's not still the real reason. right? Just like we talk about the artist, right? Like what happens if the artist realizes their value, right? Like someone said the scariest thing ever happened in WWE is The Rock went to Hollywood and became a G, right? Now he don't ever got to bow down to that. He probably makes more money than all those dudes except for the owners, right? Um but and he's an owner himself in movie companies, so who knows what he truly makes, you know what I mean? Like at this point, you know? Um but yeah, like in a situation like that, like how do you make The Rock bow down, right? So if they all kind of get that smart and realize they value and they're just kind of using your company as a rocket ship and start making their independent money, then the more you want to control them, the more they're like, yeah, but I'm making monies from ABCD stream. Like maybe I'll just stop after this contract, you know? Now, is that the real motivation? I don't know, but that might
Is
be a
that the,
part of
like
it.
intent is like, oh, when we signed this, one, if I'm already having you wrestle exclusive for me, I'm trying to do it. But there is something to brand protection. Now, mind you, you're not going to see The Rock in none of the movies that Nicolas Cage is currently in. There's a reason, and
No,
there's a
but wait,
reason.
wait, stop,
There's
stop
a
though.
reason for it. Outside of the money,
He did no, but Rock
Tiffany's.
did a lot of weird ass movies too.
He's
Maybe
in a
not
lot of
as
high
weird.
profile movies, and at this point, what I'm saying, I said at this right now, he's not going to do it. You're not seeing him do it.
All
I'm
we
not
got to do
talking
is go
about the
last year,
past.
and you see like literally the building movie. I don't remember what it's
That
called.
is a blockbuster. I'm not talking about whether these are good movies that you like. You missing
No,
my
no, no.
point.
But they're not making money though. They're not even doing that part.
That's because movies are all right. Forget The Rock.
Like,
Anything. Guess what? You're
what?
not gonna
What?
find Rolex in Macy's.
Yeah.
You're not gonna find Tiffany's in Macy's. Could they sell there? Of course they could. It's different markets, obviously, but they won't put it there because they don't want to be seen in Macy's because they already have a certain type of recognition for
Association.
the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So I'm not gonna cheapen my brand by having it this. Now there may be. I'm just making a counter argument. It may not be that I don't want you to go and make your own money, but if you're riding my rocket ship and we got a deal and I have business going on, then I might not necessarily want you, on the corners signing autographs. Like I don't that don't mesh with maybe what my thing is trying to do. And so I'm just thinking of other things like,
Yeah,
nah,
yeah,
we don't
yeah.
want you doing cameos. You could be saying whatever you want to say on these cameos, and this shit could affect our brand. Like, nah, for that, then I guess go do your own fucking thing or whatever the fucking do cameos and shit. Then I get what you're saying though, but it might not always be like, yo, I don't want nobody to do anything. Like, yo, I'm protecting my side of the shit, and I guess you'd have to fight for that. But I'm not trying to have you doing whatever at McDonald's and shit, and then you're on my glamorous show that I got trying to look a certain way, and people like, yo, there's a dude, you could see him in fucking Wendy's every Saturday. He'll sign it for 5 cents. Like, I don't want, or you whatever you're doing in the cameo. Like some shit's just like liability stuff too. You know what I'm saying? Like that we just might not be thinking about from a business sense. This idiot do cameos and go say some crazy shit.
That's
Or
true.
he get on there and do a cameo for a white supremacist and I don't know. And he do a thing for a Nazi, and now this dude's cameo is now the Nazis using it, and everybody's gonna look at me. Everybody's gonna look at my $1 million company, or why I got this dude who's doing fucking shit I don't even fucking know. So you can't do nothing unless we approve of it. You know what? Because we don't want no fuck ups, no PR shit.
That's true, but
nothing.
a lot of that, you know what a lot of that sounds like? That sounds like an employee.
It sounds like business. These people make a deal. You don't have to sign this deal with me. Nobody's forced into doing nothing. Nobody's forced to be an employee. Nobody's forced to do anything. If you want the benefits, whatever you think I'm giving you,
yeah.
That you're even here discussing at the table with me in the first place. Because if I didn't have anything to offer you, it wasn't worthwhile, you didn't need it, or there wasn't some motivation, guess what? We probably wouldn't be fucking talking. Right? You wouldn't be here talking to me for anything, and I wouldn't be talking to you for anything if there wasn't some sort of mutual need or mutual benefit from each other. So we're going to have to agree to things. Do you have to agree? No. You could do whatever the fuck you want to do. But if that's what the other party, it don't have to be a company. This could be between a partnership and another individual just doesn't want you to do certain things or doesn't want you to do certain whatever their stipulations are. you gotta agree. Does it sound like being an employee? I suppose so. I mean, and whatever restrictions you have, but you're gonna have restrictions. You're always gonna be listening to some type of regulation or something in most cases. But yeah, not whether that's employee to you depends on you and what you deem is whatever you want to be free and whatever kind of contract you're in, working with or for somebody. But if they say this and you sign it and you getting what you getting out of it, I don't know, buddy. Sound like you made a deal that you shouldn't have made or thought about again, right? Like I don't know. Renegotiate, I guess, right? Don't look at me like I'm the villain though. Even if I offer you a shitty deal, your dumbass signed it. It's not my fault. I'm in business and I'm thinking about these things because my prerogative is making money. And I'm sorry that doesn't align with the individual human element. I'm not saying it shouldn't. I'm just saying realistically it doesn't. I'm not. People shouldn't even be looking for these people to make these type of decision. Oh, they should let them do.
But you see what you just said right there. People shouldn't be looking, but right, this is at the end of the day, it's the individual's fault. But a lot of people, we're only now just realizing, oh, we can make it at an indie level. But when a lot of people want to be a rapper, I want to be Drake. So they think the only way to do it is through the label and not like, oh, I can be Immortal Technique and yeah, I only have my niche, even if my niche fucks with me my whole life, and that's enough, like a lot of that. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of those people coming up, either one, it was their dream to be in either WMB, WE, whatever, or they might only see it like when I hear the stories of the 90s, like, well, that kind of is the only option, isn't it? If you want to stay in America, unless you want to go outside of the country now, So yeah, a lot of people look at it from that point, like it might be the only option, even if
I'm not expecting the oil industry to try to get rid of selling oil either, right? So if you're looking for that to happen, I guess you got to push the envelope, right, and get other people to get along with it. So if all of the artists and all of the wrestlers felt like this, if there was a big enough market of people, wrestlers, artists saying, we want this,
I've seen the rumors about doing unions, but who knows what
I'm not even necessarily talking about.
I know that, but just
union is just individual, collective action, and nothing has to literally be signed. Will that affect things? Like, well, if you're not working for a company, maybe you're not getting paid as much, but those are the compromises that are made to get there. That's like part of the negotiation, so to speak. The market's going to do whatever the market does, right? If the market's fucking with you, the market's going to fuck with what you got, regardless of what name you have or what band or brand you're under. So, but if everyone's okay with gas and everyone is okay with it and there's no need to change it and push the envelope, I'm certainly not incentivized to do it. Everybody's happy. Everyone seems to be in agreement, right? Even though they all gripe and complain about it, but nobody's pushing the envelope. So everybody must be fine with it. Then shut the fuck up and enjoy the fucking gas. Yeah. Otherwise, you got to do something to make me think gas ain't, I need to change it. Just right? I'm still looking for a benefit. I'm just not going to move if you're not.
I get it.
Making it incentivized. So that's just people's fault.
It's just like I'm fine with the great quality internet from Spectrum. And AT&T.
Protest, man. I don't know. People gotta get the change that they want the way that they can for themselves. Maybe other people will join along and fight it and do it. Maybe that's like you're saying, the indie way. People are just don't want to look to the same methods and don't want to do the same things. They just want to do it their own way. Like that's probably the attitude that you should have, so that even if you get to a label, you're gonna still be trying to do things on your terms. You'll know how to do business that favors you, whether that's it favors how you want to be creative, whether that it favors your money situation, it favors your ownership situation. And if they don't want to fuck with you, then you find another person to do business with, right? I'm sure if one person wants to do business with you, it's probably other people that are willing to do the same thing too. But yo, I don't know. Everybody keep drinking fucking Coca-Cola, so I don't see what the fucking problem is. Everybody know it's not good for you. Everybody know all of the things is wrong with it. They know they're not changing the formula. They're not putting the Coke and sugar back in. They're not revolutionizing it, right? Like, stop buying it. And I bet you somebody will make something different, or that place will disappear. Or keep buying it and complaining. And see if they stop making fucking Coca-Cola. See if they stop making it so long as people keep drinking it. People smoke crack. People will do all kind of crazy things that aren't good. So we know people will do stuff like that. But that's up to you to not sign that contract and find another way and tell other people not to do it. If it's that big of a deal, same way people get upset about government shit and same shit. No, we're not signing contracts like this. This is bullshit. No, we're gonna do no. Eventually, I bet you people will start changing. Bet you some big will be like, oh, this don't sound good for money. We better reconsider. Get the math people to look at the charts again. Bet you. They'll figure something out. Right? They'll figure something out for their functions. So.
Oh man. Damn.
You know what I mean?
All right. This is the last.
You'll be taking advantage. Go ahead.
Last wrestling thing.
You love the wrestling lately.
For this week, just for this week. I think the dream's over after this week. I was doing, like getting into the music too the last couple of weeks. And one of the classic songs, the NWO theme, I was gonna talk about the normal one, but real quick, the red and black NWO, their theme has a rapper on it, and that rapper is C Murder. That took me off guard. I was like, really? They got C Murder on this track? I don't even remember the lore behind that. I think they had to convince him or some shit. I don't even think he wanted to do it. But the one I was really gonna talk about is the normal NWO theme. And Hulk Hogan had his own theme song when he's NWO. He had a special I'm the leader of NWO song. And at the time I didn't know because I was young and I was only hearing hip hop in New York. But later on, I'm diving into Jimi Hendrix music, and I hear this song and I was like, I know this song. And it turns out I think they paid whoever owns the Jimi Hendrix stuff, I want to say $1 million, maybe more, maybe less, but it definitely, I feel like $1 million was the least amount. It paid $1 million to use, I don't even remember the name of the song, but basically a Jimi Hendrix song, just the whole thing, as Hogan's entrance music, for there in WCW. So I was like, all right, so Jimi Hendrix. All right, he's the NW, and then they would do the hip hop tags, new world order, for life, or the biggest icon in wrestling, like all this like ad lib shit, It's kind of like mad disrespectful. You think, man, like we're gonna just shit on it with wrestling stuff. We're gonna shit on Jimi Hendrix for $1 million on this Jimi Hendrix song. We're just gonna tag it up. But anyway. So I'm like, all right, so Jimi Hendrix is the Hogan thing, but then they had the actual NWO theme. So I was looking it up the other day, and it turns out the NWO theme is just 3 Jimi Hendrix songs that they kind of cut up and sampled and like kind of moved them around, and it's just 3 Jimi Hendrix songs kind of merged to make a new beat of the NWO theme, I was like, yo, Jimi Hendrix is the audio sound of the NWO, like completely. I was like, well, he kind of was leading a revolution. I was like, this kind of makes sense. But I just found that just from like a music perspective, I was like, yo, Jimi Hendrix responsible for the entire like NWO sound. I was
weird cliff note.
Yeah.
Weird NWO footnote. Jimi Hendrix. Did you know Jimi Hendrix?
Anyway,
why did you start diving into the wrestling so much recently?
Damn, I'm trying to think like what was the first thing? It might have just been like I don't know if this was part. I don't know if this was the first thing, but a lot of it was that Monday Night War documentary. But I think I got into it right before it, which led me into that. So I don't really know. Maybe I don't know if it was like the music. Maybe I just had some songs in my head, and so like you get recommended old shit. So maybe I would just see some old shit.
Mm.
But definitely one of the big things was the documentary. But that wasn't the. It was the Monday Night War documentary, but that wasn't the first thing I saw. I think that was just where I got.
Just got sucked in a wormhole.
Yeah. It was. I mean, like it kind of is the. Unfortunately, like just like a remember a time, you know. Remember, I hate to say be like an old man. Remember the good times, but it's kind of some of that. Um,
Mm.
but just like we were saying, like that stuff may never happen again on the mainstream level. But it looks like there's people pushing it in their own way on the lower levels, you know. That stuff may only happen again at the mainstream level if there's a worthy opponent to make it happen again at the mainstream level. You know, like those '90s were just. I guess I was just lucky, and because you saw some of it too. I guess like we were just lucky that we were coming up in the age where they had to fight. You know, so we maybe got to see a special time in that. Versus had we been coming up in the '80s we would have saw a special time too, but our special time would have been like, man, wasn't Hogan the shit? You know, and that probably would have been our special time, you know, because he was
Right.
transcendent in the '80s, you know, and that's probably wrestling for the '80s in one sentence, just Hulk Hogan, the end, you know,
Right.
versus what ended up happening. Oh shit, did I do something dumb? Okay, I thought I had stopped. Um,
People like to like we do, right? Like you hold on to what you like, what you raised on, what you conditioned, whatever.
and just like you be
That's
diving
what.
into the hip hop lore, I don't know, I find that lore fascinating too. Um, this is old news, but since I'm in wrestling mode, right? I saw a Dudley Boys interview the other day, and they were like, "Man, Vince McMahon, we cool with him. He only did one fucked up thing, but we kind of get it from a business point. But he only did one fucked up thing, and I've forgotten that he trademarked the name the Dudley Boys, like
Mm,
because they were indie wrestlers, so they came in with the Dudley Boys. So technically they own it, but you know they're in ECW. They're all freelance in that crazy world in the late '90s with no internet, just hasn't really gotten there yet. They don't know shit about trademarking their own name, you know, like so yeah. Vince McMahon kind of in essence stole their name and gimmick, even though they came to the organization with it, you know. Um, but you know, I guess that's business, you know. And they didn't seem too uber pissed about it, you know, but at the same time, it don't look like they were happy either. But they were like, you know, things worked out, and without that, they wouldn't be as successful and good off as they are anyway, you know. Um, so they kind of looked at it more like a mistake, you know. But I was like, man, that dude does not play Vince McMahon. I was like, you give that dude an inch, he's taking it for sure. Um,
he did the homework to know how to do a trademark. If you were
yeah,
thinking as far as ahead as he was, then you probably would have that idea might have popped into your head too.
and to
We
be
can't be
fair,
mad at people for not knowing what they don't know, but if you're trying to do something, it probably makes sense to just think. This is my biggest. People just don't think about nothing. They just don't think as far as they nose could see. That's as far as people could think, and that's
you know
it.
what's
Whatever's in
crazy about
front.
him is that you know maybe the excuse might be, but he's a businessman and so he's doing that, and some of that is true. But you know what? You know who is also working out there in the ring every Monday with you? Vince McMahon, because he was also a
Okay, if he's
character.
working in the ring,
No,
he's
but it's
also
just
running this fucking
no, but
business.
that's what I'm saying is he still had like he was not just as smart doing all the business moves, he's still doing the same thing in essence that the wrestlers are doing and still had the time to be like a smart businessman, you know? Just like you can do it all, you know? Like you don't just have to do one thing. All right, we're a wrestler, so maybe we don't have to learn about the other stuff, you know? Of being a business, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he probably just learned more about business than the wrestlers did, and about wrestling too, I guess. But not that you're gonna learn everything in the beginning either, even
Yeah,
if you do
yeah.
research. But it makes sense to right, like just think about things, just think about stuff. You know what I'm saying?
All
But
right, I'm gonna let the wrestling die. Um, I texted you this yesterday. I don't know the records for Steam, but I heard Guilty Gear Accent Core. I guess a game that came out in 2002, but in reality, the version that they're playing is probably came out in 2012, like the final update of it. But essentially, that version of Guilty Gear, kind of like saying Street Fighter 2, right? Versus Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, you know? Um, that version, I guess, when it broke 600 players on Steam yesterday, I think that was the most ever for a Guilty Gear game. I heard some crazy shit like that. But I think at around like 2,500, maybe 26, and I don't know where it capped off. It was the number one game on Steam, you know? Guilty Gear, like an old ass fighting game, not even the new Guilty Gear, you know, the fucking Guilty Gear from PS2, you know? Um, all because it had rollback code, and they were selling it for $3, so it wasn't even free or something. It was $3 beta, you know, $3, but it's it's $3 is nothing. But yeah, all because of the promise of rollback code, which has been avoided by Japanese developers like the plague for a very long time. Um, and from the little bit I've heard of, so far the results seem promising. It do seem like, if the main guy I heard this from lives in Japan, and they have Japan internet, so he never seemed too mad at online anyway, but he has Japan internet, and some of the other countries, it still seems to almost be similar in that, like, the further me and you are, maybe the worse it's gonna be, But outside of that, everybody has kind of said, though, it's probably one of the better online experiences, at the very least, that they've had with Guilty Gear, So, maybe who knows, like in the future, right? Maybe that's one of the things that brings us back. Maybe we're kind of angry at the fighting games, but maybe the fact that we could play them online together and at least they work, even if the game isn't maybe the way we wish it was, at least it works now, more versus
I only played online. Other than RPGs, I just play first person shooters and fighting games. I rarely played the story mode. So online, like, just kind of, that was like the big, everything's online. So
the main game I think that we wasted,
that was important.
Not that we wasted, but that we missed out on, was KOF, because that one had the worst online of any game we played.
Yeah, Guilty Gear was pretty bad. I played Guilty Gear a little bit online.
But KOF would crash with us. Remember, we couldn't even start matches sometimes.
You couldn't even play that one. Guilty Gear is pretty bad. Street Fighter wasn't great. Street Fighter 4, I think, was pretty good.
That was probably some of the best between us,
I don't know. Yeah, it makes fighting games kind of. I mean, I think in anything you play online, like, if it does that, it's whack. If you're playing first person, like, that's just
everything
just
sucks.
Makes playing whack. It just makes it whack. You die, whatever.
I don't know. From the little bit I've heard from, like, the way these games work, maybe because they're just so like this, it just seems like fighting games depend on it more.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. It sucks in general, is what I'm saying.
Oh, for all of them. In FPS, you get teleported.
Persistent problem.
Yeah.
Like, if I was lagging on Call of Duty, it might have been my internet or the room or something, and then I could just hop into, hop into another room that's just fine. Outside of, like, strange glitches or whatever, like, most other games were, as far as I could tell, they were fine playing online, but those were just consistently bad.
So it's kind of this belief that if rollback becomes the normal netcode, that fighting games will be saved amongst the people who play them. And I feel like a form of that might be true, because from what I've heard of Killer, it's always the games that aren't the games that are the most popular. So they're never, since they're not the most popular outside of maybe Mortal Kombat, they don't ever have the whole fan base playing it. So a part of me over wonders, like, all right, I believe you on the netcode, but was Killer Instinct ever pushed to that server max? The way Street Fighter 5 was maybe pushed to year one, The way, yeah, that might be it, Street Fighter, like, because every other game gets more niche. But the way maybe Smash Brothers, that's ultra popular too, and I hear that has one of the worst onlines, The player base for Smash Brothers probably dwarfs Killer Instinct and maybe even Mortal Kombat. Though I know Mortal Kombat is usually the highest selling fighting game of all of them, but a part of me just wonders how many of these people are also playing online competitively given their tournament, output, But yeah, who knows? Maybe that could, I don't know, change things for the better if they could figure it out. But it also be seeming like it can only do so much because if in some of these countries that who knows are even worse than America, internet, like you can only do so much, because some of it has to come from the internet infrastructure of where you live too, So
right.
So yeah. So again,
maybe they start using it more in games and
yeah. I mean,
people demanded it.
Without me, because I don't even remember exactly how to explain rollback, but without it doesn't even apply to all games. It only applies to certain games, and I can't even remember what the name is for it. But fighting games is one of the games that would work in because rollback can predict. It has to do with the way inputs and work. So basically, the way it does, when lag does happen,
smooths out the data and
Well. So what it does, it just goes with a prediction on whatever the last thing you are doing. It leaves you doing that until it gets the next input, and
it smooths it out. Yeah. That's what I meant by that. It
and based on the percentages, usually more than 70% of the time. By the time it gets the data, you're usually still doing the same thing. And for that odd 30 percentile time, it does some weird thing where it'll kind of correct itself and not this way, which was what would normally happen, which is the catch up.
Maybe they start making it more fighting games. That'd be cool. I mean, if you could play them online, they kind of, I don't know. They're kind of pointless like that too, because then I don't know. Who wants to just play the single player mode? And no one goes to people's houses anymore, especially now.
For us, you're right, but apparently I hear these fighting games that sell usually the most, with the obvious one being Mortal Kombat, but usually the more a fighting game sells, usually the more of the base plays the one player mode, or at least plays it as a one player game and not a versus game, if that makes sense. Which it doesn't really to me, to my mindset, and maybe not yours either.
So people play, I'm talking about the more niche fighting games where internationally people can't really mingle because of internet stuff, but people play Street Fighter and people play. I know Mortal Kombat has a story mode or whatever.
So normally, but story mode aside, because those are things in the newer, I guess from what I've heard, the way the research, the more mainstream a game is selling from a fighting game, the more likely that fan base, as a whole, they're not usually playing it even in that competitive way. They're kind of just playing it as a one-player game.
Are they playing it online though? Is what I'm saying, or they're just playing the computer?
Yeah, usually that's what I mean. When I say one-player game, I mean me and not the online world at all. Just me and whatever the AI is doing,
Oh, well then, I didn't know that. I assumed everyone just wanted to play everything online.
I assume that too, because we come from that fighting game world of wanting to fight people. But the more mainstream...
There were arcade games usually before consoles, so you could fight the computer, obviously.
Yeah.
You were also forced to fight other people too, regardless.
But for those people who never got good, because maybe the fear of losing, now you can just be comfortable playing the computer by doing that, or whatever reasons people have for not wanting to just play online.
No, that makes sense then. Yeah, I don't know. I can't be mad at that. If mad people are actually just rocking the one player, then
it's very different.
That it won't make sense
to how we were playing it. But apparently. The games that sell a lot, this is how people play them. And this is why, Tekken historically...
What are the games that sell a lot? Now I want to know what are the games that sell a lot.
And, damn, I don't really know that off my hand. I can tell you, when Mortal Kombat 11 came out, did it finish...
No Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat's exempt.
Dude, it was the #1 game. Not even fighting game.
Mortal Kombat...
No. I don't
That's
know
a
if it
very
finished.
different one-player
No,
experience
but
than
for
most
sure.
fighting games.
But to exempt it, like yo, it's almost at Drake level with MK11 because it was not just the number one fighting game of last year. I don't know if it finished out December, but in October it was the number one game selling. You know, just game, like just
Yeah,
game.
but
I
it
was
just it
like,
doesn't no there's not a lot of fighting games that have one
no,
players like I've heard that one described. So that's why I'm saying
it's mega
I
unique.
don't want to
Yeah,
use that one as an outlier for why people are playing a one-player game when this is the one fighting game that actually seems to have some sort of like in-depth
well,
one-player mode that's not you just going from
Tekken's
maybe
another
some
one
story or
that
whatever.
has been historically a seller. But I think when we grew up, like, because it's fun, Mortal Kombat does the one player. What's up?
I'm talking about now because historically people
Tekken
play
still sells,
differently.
but I was just saying, like, it's funny the games that sell the most to a mainstream because they all have been really good historically at designing a one player experience. Like, if you remember going back to our day in Tekken 3, it had all these bonus modes. You know, it had like the Streets of Rage mode where you just walk around and fight people.
Oh, right,
It
right,
had
right. You talking
bowling.
about other game
Yeah,
modes too that they
yeah.
could have.
They've been
Right.
really good at doing that. And the games we play have really good at having versus mode and training mode, and that's it.
And the same things that you've seen in mad fighting games for a long
Yeah,
time.
nothing changed.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
so that's what I'm like. What are the top selling games and what do their one player modes look like? Because if people are really playing like Street Fighter 2 arcade level, they just like playing that shit all the
I
time.
believe people just play it like that and just have fun that way.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it
If it's
does.
Mortal Kombat, then maybe I could see why a lot of people from that base are playing the one player game because it's not a cool one player, I guess. But the majority, if you told me the majority of people playing Street Fighter 5 are playing the one player modes, I'd be like, that'd be shocking.
Mm.
Or Guilty Gear. I don't even know what the modes are, to be honest with you. I'm just kind of guessing what they are. But you just said it's for the top selling game. So what's the other top selling game? Mortal Kombat, Tekken.
I mean, I don't know if you're gonna count it, but Smash Brothers. Smash Brothers is probably up there with all of them. Like it's probably number 2 right next to Mortal Kombat. I don't know if they came out in the same
And
year.
people play that more one player.
That one I
Or
don't know
like
because
at
that's
home.
a very different.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
talking about. What are the examples
but
that
I
most
would say
people are
this,
playing?
like that's a game I can totally see people playing by themselves. I've
I
actually
can see
seen
that. I can see
a
that
bunch
one.
of people play that by themselves just because it's fucking, Mario World. I don't know. like it's Nintendo World.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, what else? Smash Brothers, Mortal Kombat, which is just in its own alien thing, and Tekken.
That might
They the
be
most
it. That
popular
might be it
games.
right
So it's
now. I
only
don't know if
three.
people are playing Street Fighter one on one right now. I think when it was new, maybe.
Well, I
But
mean, if those are the most popular games,
yeah.
then I would think that they have the most
You know what?
users, the
Real
most
quick,
market share.
going on that Steam, I guess people because that's people playing it now, so that's not accurate. But when Dragon Ball Z was new, it was also a top selling fighting game. The Dragon Ball Z fighting. I forgot that game exists, but
I can see people playing the one player mode for that
yeah,
too.
because it's Dragon Ball. Yeah,
Because the story, just to go through the story.
yeah.
Um, yeah, but this ain't the majority of fight. It's like these few Drake games that have Mortal Kombat and Dragon Ball Z, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Like, what else is people? I don't think people play one player mode in none of the other fighting games. Maybe
That's
I don't
why
know.
maybe I said it wrong, but
I'm
that's
just
why I
guessing.
said the more that a game sells, the more likely that fan base is to play the one player mode. Because that's why I said it that way because
What does that mean though? That don't mean.
so
I feel
like
like that's just a blank data point with no like. So the more a game sells, the more likely the user base the majority becomes that people are playing the single
I
player
guess so.
mode.
Maybe I'm saying it wrong, but like because that stat is probably more to say that the more likely more of them aren't in the competitive fight scene, and because of that, the more likely they don't need to play versus mode or training mode. You know, they're just playing it by themselves.
Then this would naturally happen to any game, any fighting game over time.
Yeah, okay,
if it became more popular, then over time, the user base would just become,
because now you're selling outside of the competitive
one player mode.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Just like, yeah, I guess that makes sense after it starts spreading past the core, you know what I'm saying, fan base. And I mean, that's everything though, right? Like that's the story of becoming commercial. The masses get it now. It's a different, right? Like that's kind of just the natural progression with it. People become casual. They're not the niche fan of when it was indie, when it was first out. They're not the people digging into crates for stuff. So, right, like, I mean, that makes sense. Is that why they're maybe, not that we were saying this, like maybe that's the incentive not to work on internet? I don't know, because I feel like that would just open up its own market in itself.
Say that one more time. Wait, the incentive to not work?
To not work on making like internet better or something?
So no, so that comes, I think, and this is me being an American judging Japanese companies. That comes from Japanese companies probably making a game for the country of Japan where they have much better internet than America. So maybe they can get away with lamer netcode than you can in America, where a gigabyte is a dream, you know, like of download upload speed, you know. So now when almost every esport now is pulling you to America, even for the lowliest of games, fucking Blaze Blue and shit, you know, like Arxis, anything, you know, like they really want America to be a foothold in everything. Well, everybody's like, that's cool, bro, but like we need, especially in a COVID world now more than ever, but this was before COVID, it's like your game can't last in this American country and not have rollback. So it's more the Japanese developer that has avoided the rollback code, you know, because all the American fighting games are not the famous ones except for Mortal Kombat, but, you know, it has that weird famous of being the more famous one-player game like we were talking about. But all the games with great online are all American because they're all designed for the American infrastructure, you know, like with that in mind.
It's the foreign people that don't make it for they need to just I don't know, figure something out that's,
so I don't know. There's been enough protest, and so it's funny, I didn't know we were going to get old school Guilty Gear with rollback, but there's been enough protest of late that when the new Guilty Gear was announced that, hey, they're going to have delay, a lot of people want that game to succeed, even if it does suck as a game, as we talked about Guilty Gear getting simpler, because if one Japanese game does good with rollback, maybe all of them adopt it in the future. And so the game you actually want maybe in the future gets rollback, and maybe we're all saved in online world in the future. So that was the thing about everybody testing this out yesterday, because it was like, oh shit, there's a game. Because you know what's funny is this idea comes from 2007 on the old emulators we used to play. Because I think the Canons, the Evo people, like they popularized this. If I remember my FGC lore correctly, they made the GGPO online, you know, which was also a form of rollback. So it's like a lot of those old games like this version of Guilty Gear, like you could play pretty decent online with rollback, you know? And so a lot of people would get frustratingly angry, like, yo, why did these two dudes in Cali figure this shit out? And you guys have budgets in Japan, and they literally made it open source, you know, like just use their shit. And you keep using these whack net codes that never work, you know? So yeah, it's just, they're just trying to, so a lot of people just hoping that this is a taste of things to come for fighting game land, you know? That maybe rollback will be everywhere, and now you can play your favorite game and not as shitty.
We shall see, I guess.
Yeah.
Do money.
So yo, let's do the one album. I guess you didn't get to hear it a lot. Let's do Busta Rhymes. Busta Rhymes came out with an album to my surprise yesterday. I feel like we were talking about him lately with him being, I was saying like he might be one of the great feature rappers, you know, like of all time, you know. To So to my surprise, he put a Extinction Level Event 2, I believe it's called, you know? It might have a longer title, but LE2. He got Chris Rock narrating a lot of it, you know? Like almost being like his almost like the watcher to the album, but essentially saying a lot of times in various ways, no one can fuck with Busta Rhymes. He's the man, myth, legend, you know? Um so yeah, I know you I skimmed through it, but I kind of heard a lot, but I heard it a lot with the background listening. I wasn't doing the foreground. But it do sound like he coming correct with the bars. It do sound, let's say maybe to more of a majority, like he talking about maybe like relevant issue things. He do got the occasional stereotype hip hop song. I text Leon like, "Yo, look who's on his album. It's Vibes Cartel." I don't know if you remember that guy or not, from Jamaica. He's a very prolific, yeah. And I don't know if he is still in jail, but I also believe he was
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought he was in jail.
Yes, but you know how many releases he's done while being
no. I feel like I saw something recently, like maybe he got out or when, I don't know, but yeah, no, I know.
It's very confusing what jail mean. I don't know if it's just because he's special, because he's Vibes Cartel and he just gets to bring a studio with him, but they didn't stop him from releasing music somehow, like a lot. Like he's been releasing lately. But anyway, yeah, so like that one was more the stereotype thing, you know, just girls with fat asses. But yeah, no, he had a few bars. He had the last song, Satanic. It's mad funny. It's not talking about Kanye per se, but if you want to, you could kind of maybe flip it like it's talking about Kanye. But only because it starts off with him invoking the idea like, yo, we used to talk about things like Jesus walks. What happened? Now we going down this path. So you could, if you want to run away with it, you can almost be like, it's the whole thing about Kanye. I don't think it is. But yeah, he has an interesting song there. And that, like, yeah, it's like, yo, what happened with the game? Like, we used to do this. Now we do that, you know, blah, blah, blah. He got a Kendrick Lamar song on there. Apparently, it leaked like 2 or 3 years ago. So this might be Kendrick Lamar from 2012 to 2014, but I just never, I don't really be checking for leaks. But you hear about it, and apparently like a Drake song leaks every other month, you know? So like, I guess leaks is a thing in the game still to this day, which is like, I'm amazed. I'm amazed that that shit still kind of happens. Kendrick did his Kendrick thing, you know, just in case you didn't know, my name's Kendrick Lamar, and I can rap my ass off, you know? So he kind of, I'm funny. I'm like listening to it, and I swear, like 80% of the verse, he just does this rhythm, and he does the whole thing, and I'm like, yo, man, is this dude not breathing, or is this cut perfect? I'm like, I was just hearing it, and I'm hearing it with the background, but he make me listen because I was like, yo, what is he doing right now? Like I was like, so yeah, and he does, you know, the chorusy things that Kendrick likes to do. Busta comes hard on that song, but you know Kendrick he's very good at stealing the show. You know, overall, I think like for being like an older artist, it's probably one of the more stronger releases. Right? If we're gonna say like, okay, he's an OG legend now, like so, like you know, sometimes legends show up and they drop some shit that sound like maybe from the past, like. You know, it's a stronger release for sure. I don't know if I'm gonna be hearing it though like that, just cause, you know, maybe I'm in a different place now. You know, like, and it's just so much music, like I'm always saying. But there was 2 songs stood out. I think one is called Slow Flow, but similar to the MOP Disappointment. You know, I'll say it again just cause we said that off mic. There's a song on here with MOP is one of my favorite duos from back in the day. And they got a feature on here, but really they're just sampling Annie Up, I think. And that disappointed me because I thought MOP was going to have some verses, do some MOP things on there, but they're not really on it. And there's a song on here with Oh Dirty Bastard. Obviously, Oh Dirty Bastard's been dead for a long time. And I was hearing it, and I was like, yo, I'm pretty sure I know these lyrics. Probably took it from somewhere. I later found out they just kind of just took it from Brooklyn Zoo, I think. And I was even just hearing him on it. Like, it looks like they use him for the chorus and then some part that may or may not be the chorus. But I was like, he kind of fit in here, but he kind of don't, you know, like, and I'm like, they probably put the verses on the beat, you know, because honestly, that might be my favorite beat on the album. is that song with Old Dirty Bastard. Because I was like, this sound way too modern for it to be something they made for real, you know, for ODB.
Right, right.
And then there's another song that has a more modern sounding like trappy beat that there was a good beat on there too that kind of stood out from a beat perspective, you know. Um, but yeah, like considering like it's an old legend doing something in the now, he definitely got I like his voice is growing as he grows. His voice is like mad deeper sometimes. Sometimes he getting like
Yeah, nah,
real low
no,
with
yeah,
it. I'm like,
nah.
what's going on?
His voice is just different
Yeah.
now. Nah, like, because people's voices change. Like, his voice is, it's not different, but it's deeper. Cameron's voice is different. It's
Yeah.
just like age. You could just hear something. People's voices are, even Nas's voice is different, even though he could obviously like retrograde and go back to old Nas sound, but like, even
Nah,
you could just hear it. You could
I
just
feel
hear
like
people's
Nas don't
voices
sound as
change.
different because he's more relaxed. But
Nah,
Busta
you can
Rhymes,
still hear it though.
I
Put
probably need to
some,
AB
you
it. I
can
probably
still
need to
hear
AB
it.
it. I probably need to AB
You
it.
can still, it like deep, it's like deep, like what you saying. It's like almost like your bass just get
I
deeper
probably
and
need
old
to
as you get
AB it.
older.
Not Nas. I'm sorry, Busta Rhymes though, because he's so energetic, you kind of can tell like that he
No, you
older.
can really hear,
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
really hear
So
old
I didn't
man.
have to AB nothing. I was like, yo, this is a different human being. And honestly, since he's gotten bigger over the years anyway, part of me thought maybe his voice just got deeper. But it's funny you say that about vocalists getting deeper because I know just historically, just singers, you know, they're never able to get as high range as when they were younger anyway. So as they get older, so just maybe,
Your body is probably
yeah,
right. Like it's
maybe
just
the
wear
rap,
and
yeah, maybe the
tear. Just
voice is just
don't.
getting lower, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Cameron, well, a few people I've heard like, damn, you could tell, like, yeah, their voice sound different for one reason or another, deeper, age or something else.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I didn't listen to any of it yet. I heard maybe the first song I listened to, and then maybe like the next two, but I like really wasn't listening. One sounded great. Matter of fact, I remember one track that just was like boom, bam. He was doing all kind of sound effects. It sounded, maybe that was the MOP one. I don't know. Um,
Maybe that's one of the ones they're promoting for sure. That one's
but
called Czar.
I didn't listen to all of it yet, so I definitely want to hear that. And then Ill Bill dropped the album or something today, so I want to check that out. And maybe Styles P dropped something. Donnie sent me something. I didn't know. I don't know if it's old or new though. I mean, I didn't look on Spotify. It was like a YouTube one. So
There's
I
a
don't know.
song
But I want to hit Ill Bill and the Buster.
there's a song here called Best I Can with Rhapsody. And they're talking about like relationships from each perspective. That was cool.
Some single came out with people on it. I don't know what it
With
was.
people on it. Oh, the intro
Yeah.
got Rakim on it. That was dope to hear. I forgot that was it. This intro is 7 minutes long, so I forgot about it. But yeah, the intro has Rakim on it. That was dope to hear.
Common got a song with Black Dog called Say Peace.
Mm.
Army of the Pharaohs. So this is some old shit. That's the E40 dropped something.
Damn, this is so much.
It's Freddie Gibbs, Hit Boy, and Big Sean.
Oh, I
That's
heard
what
that.
I said.
It was alright. Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, if that was one I figured I mentioned to you. Alchemist is working on something already
Of
again.
course, of course.
I don't know what, I can't remember what it was. I read it somewhere, but he's dropping something with somebody. And Westside is announced his next project. It's something fair. Sincerely Adolf. It's some bugged out
Oh,
title.
he
Like
gonna end it.
Sincerely
He gonna
Adolf.
end the Hitler
Nah,
series.
I don't know if he's ending it.
The only reason
It
I say that
just,
because I know he was talking about retiring this year. So if that plan's still legit, he can wrap up all his series. You know.
they be trying to make it seem like he's not feeling Eminem for not promoting their stuff. Like Eminem had just recently tweeted about.
I don't even know what that means. Like, because I don't know what that label does for them.
They're just a distribution, but I guess I don't know what he expects. But Eminem tweeted about. If he didn't say nothing, a fan said something. He just made like an emoji. But they be trying to make it seem like the narrative they try to spin is that he has a problem. I'm not saying that he actually does. They be trying to make it put things in a context like, oh, he has some issue with him or something like that. But nah, it's called something crazy with Hitler's name in it. I don't know if that means it's ending. I don't know if this is a part of the Hitler Wears Hermes series. Let me look for it again. Westside continues relentless release schedule, announcing Sincerely Adolf. Oh, it is Sincerely Adolf. Also, it is a part of the series. It serves as the 8th entry into the Hitler Wears Hermes series. The previous installment was Hitler Wears Hermes 7. Oh, you're right. Everything must come to an end. I got to finish off how I started. Sincerely Adolf, coming very soon. Art by Beautiful, blah, blah. Yeah, so this is the end of, this is some type of farewell.
See, but
I don't know if he means completely. I don't know if that means an end to the Hitler Wears Hermes series, or if this is the kind of the start to him transitioning really into something else and not making as much music or whatever.
I ended up like pulling that up real quick, the Griselda Eminem stuff. So I saw the emoji stuff.
He's smart too. Not that he wouldn't quit or that end anything if he said he was going to, but I mean, he's also really good at obviously marketing and promoting and the visuals. So I mean, I don't know what to make of this. But he says I got to finish off how I started. So
yeah, I mean,
I'm
like
assuming that what means
I hope
that
he
this
keeps
was
going. But
the Devil Wears Prada equals Hitler Wears Hermes, because yeah, it was a play on that and the whole art stuff. Yeah.
I hope he keeps.
I like him.
Yeah, but he always said like, you know, he gonna just run all that stuff out this year, and then he gonna focus on the other two and everything else he trying to do. So, because he looked like he's own Kanye, and that he might want to keep growing into all those other exterior businesses. You know,
I think he's already doing that, and we just don't see those things. But yeah, no, for sure.
I don't know. Obviously, I mean, I'm on here with you, so I can't do no in-depth reading. But I looked it up, and yeah, I guess someone posted that because I guess, like you said, he posted the Alchemist thing. But I'm like,
oh, that's what it was.
Yeah, he posted that. But to me, I'm like, I don't know. On the one hand, I'm like, I don't know really what Shady Records does for them, right? I mean, I know the real stuff. You just said distribution, but I mean, really, like in terms of promotion, because I'm closed off from a lot of that. But I'm like, yo, man, if you sign to a label and all you really want is Eminem to post on your post an Instagram post to you, and that's gonna make you happy, like, I don't know if I don't know if that's enough, like for Eminem to make an Instagram.
I don't think he said that though.
No, it's not.
The fan said that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I'm like, what did you want? You want a post? And I get that why you would want that, but I'm like, I would hope being on his label is worth more than just a post. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm sure he doesn't. I'm sure he doesn't care at all.
Yeah,
sure he gives.
It was two emojis, so it was the laughter, but then it was also this, like.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, whatever. He's being Westside Gun, whatever. Yeah, he gave you two emojis, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
That's how much he thought about it. You got, I don't know, ominous, ambiguous emojis, and maybe some truth to it that he's. And so, when I first saw that, I thought the same. Like, yeah, this is whatever. It's not. I don't even know why they're highlighting this, but not that Eminem has time. I don't know what's in people's days to do what, but in general. People don't support each other. Somebody gave, I think it was Matt Hoffa was talking, like if everybody shared when people they posted, like because he's like the people that we battle and or whatever, they don't even share their own stuff amongst themselves. And I get that they're all competing, but I mean, there are many hands make light work. I wonder if it's something too like, I don't know. I feel like if I was Eminem, I don't know what Eminem's days like. Maybe I'll be like, no, I don't have time to actually do none of the shit I'm about to say.
Yeah.
But I would think if I'm cool with these people and if I really like the music and all of that stuff, like not even for no promotion's sake or nothing like that, just to kind of help out. Like, yeah, I'm fucking with you. Let me like your post or comment on it or something. Like, it don't take unless there's some bit right, like brand protection.
And
Unless there's some other
at that
reason
level, you
behind
can
it.
have someone else do it for him too.
Yeah, it don't even gotta be me personally spending the right. I don't even actually have to be spending the time to do this myself. But I would think that I would do that for people like out of the blue. It wouldn't even have to. You wouldn't even necessarily have to be on my label or nothing. I might not even necessarily have nothing with you. But if I'm so high up and I'm the big thing, and I might be like, yo, go check out this shit is fire. You know what I'm saying?
Every
Like
release
I
coming
listen to
out
so
should be, yeah.
This is hot. You know, I don't know who this dude is. I'm not asking for nothing. I ain't trying to sign him. This
So
album's hot.
I don't
Go check it out.
have Shady Records, right? Because my name ain't Eminem.
Hold on.
Okay, go.
Especially if you're signed to me though.
Yeah.
Now I know this in particular is different because this might be distribution and like we were kind of saying, but I feel like a lot of people have complained that they'll be on labels and stuff with certain people and they don't get none of the like. I don't know. I'd be cool. Like I'm not gonna be super cool, but I'm especially if I'm already at the top though. If I'm already chilling, I'm not like scraping up trying to promote everybody's shit and I'm trying to get my own shit off. But like I'm Eminem, Jay-Z level, Big Dog, Busta Rhymes level, established dudes, or I might be like, yo, check out. I don't know. I'm just saying. Go ahead. Say what you say.
No, so the first thing I was gonna say, so on the one and I was gonna say something else, but then I was like, oh, that's right, I have a label too, technically. I was like, and I was like, well, for last year, right, I put out a release of this guy. I have one artist, but he got two aliases, and we did it weekly. Once there was a release every week, and I was like, well, I didn't post for all those weeks, but I was like, but dude, I was like, actually, what happened? I did the math in my head. Is actually I did post, and I posted every week. But when I realized he wasn't gonna post every week, then I kind of was like, if you ain't passionate about your own shit, I ain't passionate about my own shit. I'm still getting whatever cut I'm getting. I'm a win. I'm winning anyway, you know. So it's like, so that's why I stopped posting. Obviously, this is a different situation, but I was just kind of doing the mental math as someone like, well, why didn't I post for my guy versus when I did post? And I put out something I put out his final release earlier this year, and you know what I did? I made a post. He did it, you know. Like, so sometimes that artist,
yeah, but he's on your label. I'm just talking about shouting out,
so
and supporting people that you like. Whether or
yeah,
not
yeah.
you have
But
anything even
West
going
Side's
on.
on his labels. That's why it made me think of that. But the actual thing I was gonna say, was me and you. We talk a lot about like you know what really who is anyone to say what's the limits of what can and can't be done. So in theory, Eminem could do this and be Eminem. But that being said, looking at the surface level and using more stereotype judgments, sometimes it's easy to like, it appears like when artists like this who maybe aren't ready to move on, maybe like when Jay-Z or Puffy move on to do other businesses, Eminem still look like he's still very concerned with being like the god of rap, you know?
I didn't say you could rap better than me. I just
No,
said I
no,
like
no,
this.
no, no. But I'm saying like sometimes when you want to take care of artists, or when you want to do a label, right? It's more like a second or third project because you're still concerned with being with whatever, but you as the artist first, and that thing you're maybe not paying attention to it to as much as it should because you kind of care about it, you doing the thing, and not so much as that part. And that part is more like an add-on because you can do it because you're at a certain level now, you know. But maybe it's not getting the attention it deserves from you because you're still practicing the game at high level yourself, you know. So,
I mean, it's just a tweet.
for sure. But I'm just saying.
What are they? 144 characters?
For
but yeah,
sure.
No, I get it.
For sure. But I'm saying I feel like a lot
I'm sure
of times
there's strategic reasons. I'm sure there's a lot of different reasons why it doesn't happen. I'm just saying, and like, why even broadcast it? Could be business reasons. Like, right, well, why tell other people I think he's hot? I should just talk to him myself. There could be incentive there. But I just mean, if you're not even interested in necessarily doing business with anyone, you think they're hot and they're on your label, even if they're on your label, and I'm not promoting your shit, you got to do your work. But yeah, I'll put a tweet out. Know what I'm saying? Like, you on the team. Like, I'm obviously fucking with you on some degree if I got a business relationship with you. Like, I don't know. Yeah. But again, I'm sure that there's other reasons. Especially if you actually like it too. Not just because, oh, you just on my thing, so I'm gonna just say whatever. That seems ingenuous too. But like, you know, if you really fuck with it, like he tweeted about the Alchemist shit. I don't know why, what the deal is there. He likes it. He's got something behind. I don't know. But
yeah, I don't know. I'm like, for me, and this is just the way like I would have been granted if I'm probably posting about like every single release those guys do, except maybe Benny the Butcher because he's not at all on my label. But like the other two, just because they're on my thing, I'm probably posting everything they do. Like every normal release, I'm probably posting about it because it'll probably help me in the long run as long as we're together, you know? But like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's a reason for that. What I was just saying before, like, it just seems sometimes there is like a bit of conflict of interest when someone is still the artist, and by conflict of interest, I just mean more like just your attention. There's more of that, not so much that you even the conflict of interest of like you don't want to help them because it hurts you. More so is just like you're not even thinking correctly because you're still trying to do it yourself. You know.
Word. Alchemist is a producer.
Yeah.
Word.
So
word. Eminem don't shout out no rappers. He the GOAT. Fuck out of here. I look like tweeting you. Your shit is hot, nigga. Fuck out of here,
but I mean, you know, we don't know their relationships, but I'm like, man, you know, outside looking in, I'm like, it should just be so simple. Like,
you think Eminem tweeted about Royce's albums though?
I don't know. I would hope.
What you think about? I don't know if that happened.
And the reason why I said I hope because it looked like they actually friends, like in real life.
Right, and that's why I say if it didn't happen, I find that odd. I find that regardless of
but at the same time,
or I'm still the GOAT kind of thing. If we're cool, I would be like, yo, check out my dude's album. Don't get it twisted. Royce is just slightly, you know, Abe is just his controller speed is just slightly below mine. I'm still the GOAT, but go check out his stuff.
The way he be talking about like I'm gonna use his words. The way he be talking about Marshall though, he make it seem like Marshall's in another stratosphere. And he don't really know.
It's a tweet, man.
I know, but he don't really know about like music things and he's off. He don't never know.
I wouldn't even have to hear it. I wouldn't even have to hear your stuff if we was friends. Just off of the strength. And just knowing that me doing that could have a big impact for you.
Yeah.
Just me tweeting, yo, check out Abe's album could just
look, I don't follow Twitter, but in my head, you know who would tweet you? Drake. I bet you Drake would. That's the vibe I get from Drake. I bet you Drake would tweet.
Trying to work with people and track more. I'm and that's just they're friends though. Like I'd be like, nah, I try to get you know what I mean? Try to get you some clicks or whatever, homie. Like I got you. I don't even care. I'm just saying.
Over the you know, you've heard me complain about local scenes a lot of the years, and we used to try to do stuff like that, but then again, like at a certain point you just get burnt out because you see other people weren't doing it, like where like we all just share each other's stuff, right? And you said, what is it, more hands make lighter work, some shit. And one of my teachers, you know, like he was dope for like music back in the day, and he hated this like in this music scene. But he lived in San Francisco for a long time, and he said it was the opposite over there. It was a more community effort over there, and like everybody was partaking in the things so that everybody could succeed, you know. And it did
Hey,
make it easier for everybody. But here is a bit, you know, it's a bit different, you know.
you know, it's not gonna take nothing from me. You know what I'm saying? To necessarily, and not, and you know, to be fair, this isn't like seriously because I didn't see it. Too. I don't know. I'm sure Royce doesn't care. I'm sure Royce isn't asking. I'm sure Eminem's done many other great things for Royce than a tweet. Maybe
Yeah, yeah.
more valuable than any type of thing like that. Just as just as like an example.
Because a part of me said I hope
Um,
so, but a part of me, like based on the stories I hear from Royce, I'm like, yo, I bet you he didn't. I bet you he did. I bet you. It just sound like it don't sound like something he would do.
Right. I'm sure he's helpful to Royce in many other ways, but it could be way more valuable than a
Yeah, I
tweet
mean,
kind
he
of
credits him as
or whatever.
the catalyst for getting sober. You know. Um,
But
yeah.
there is something to right, like that's probably right, like outside of this, like there's something that just people maybe I don't know, like a crab in a barrel kind of mentality, or kind of like why if you're still trying to get ahead, why pull somebody up, or like even when people are in position, they don't always, you know what I'm saying, pull people. You know, I don't know the reasons they don't. You know, they feel better being the only one. You know, I don't know, but yeah, people aren't very cooperative, um, unless they're being forced to
mm,
cooperate, or there's guaranteed fucking reward at the end of it. Then people might cooperate, but
mm.
yeah, I don't know.
I also had on here. I don't know nothing if this even happened, but I know you do a better job following real news more than me. And I didn't even know about this story till you
Yeah,
told me
Little
about it.
Wayne's on Trump. Little Wayne's featuring
I
on
don't mean
Trump's
that,
mixtape. Huh?
but
That's
maybe
real
I do mean
news.
that. I heard Jack Dorsey had to talk to the Senate about that posting. That see like that you broke that to me. I didn't even know
Why
that.
you took my man post down? Huh?
Like
What was fake about
when
that
you told
shit?
me about that on the podcast, like that was my first time hearing it, so I quite wasn't understanding because it didn't make sense. But then I heard it in a few other more times, and yeah, it sounds that's I don't know, man. That stuff sounds not good, you know.
All of this needs to be investigated immediately. Number one, the FBI already has the information. This stuff is already turned into them. So for me, I might just be thinking too simple, dumb, common sense folk ass right now. I ain't a sophisticated espionage global leader thinker right now. But it would be pretty easy, whether you believe the FBI or not. They are a trusted source, although so is the New York Post or whatever, right? The FBI, they are in charge of investigating things. Let them investigate this and just like, what's the big deal about the implications are big, but so it warrants getting looked into in the first place. And people should know about this if it's true. But it's fake or not. The censorship shit aside, just tell us if it's real or not. Stop, because nothing is saying that it's real. People just, it could be Russian disinformation. It's not verified. It's not sourced. Okay, I get it. We don't know if it's real, but no one has come. I haven't seen nothing that's definitively said these are Photoshop. This is fake. This came from a Russian IP thing. We know it came from here. I would think the FBI is looking into this because the allegations are fairly serious, real or not. Makes sense to verify, right? Just common sense, intelligence, answers, whatever. Crimes, we'll figure it out. Just say that. Just say it's real or not. So it's ambiguous. So now you censor something that we don't even, no one even made an official comment on whether it's real or not. So why was it even censored in the first place? If you know, put a label on it and say that you're unsure. This is unverified information. Don't believe it off. It doesn't have put that. Let me read that. But it's all super shady. The Russian disinformation. The fact that it was found, I said this. look, if this is how Russia plans to spread propaganda, is by having a dude go to a computer shop, leave a laptop there, hope that the guy at the shop opens it and finds it. Man, he happened to be a conspiracy guy, so maybe they researched it. Look at all the points of failure. Look at all of the points of if my goal is to, I need to get this information out to disrupt and disinform the US. Of all the possible means I could do this in this day and age, I'm going to send a dude with a laptop to some computer shop. Again, hope that the dude fixes it and finds this. Then I gotta hope he releases it, right? Like I gotta hope he just happens to give it to Rudy Giuliani because he was a conspirator. Like maybe they would you just guess? Is everybody in on it? Or like what kind of plan or like why I would just be interested in the people greenlighting this as a plan to spread, like to do a real espionage disinformation campaign. Like, yep, this is the exact computer shop. This guy for sure is going to do it. He knows Giuliani. As soon as he sees it, he's going to flip. Like, how would they predict that this would even, wouldn't it have just been easier to just spread memes of this shit online? Would just pick just memes of the picture of his son. Like, people would just start asking, is this real? Is it not? So I don't know, Russian disinformation. Like, I prove it. Just say it is or it isn't.
Yeah.
But censoring it off the bat is and I know, to be fair, I know that the companies are working on a lot of this anti-election interference shit because of whatever happened last time. So I could see because of the president's son and whatever. I'm not saying I agree with it, but I see specifically they might have jumped the gun on these ones because Facebook did the same thing. But I just disagree with anybody censoring information from me at all, period. If you think it's fake or it's unverified, tell me. I will make my own informed decision. I will read it myself. I will determine it. So I don't want anybody, nope, you can't see this. This is a lie. Let me see what the lie is. Maybe I want to know what the lie is. Maybe I want to just know what the falsehood is. Maybe, right? Why deprive me of just the information? Like, these are the lies. This is what the lies look like. You're not even going to show them to me. How would I know a lie when I saw one then? Just trusting that everything you show me is real. You the one who moderates what's truth. Or now, what if you fuck up? What if you get it wrong? I didn't even get a chance to determine it for myself. I didn't get a chance to see it to say, maybe they're wrong. I know that they're saying it's this, but maybe they're wrong. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about shit where it's instructing people to drink poison or no shit that's gonna kill people. Like shit, like especially something like this. Like, nah, I want to see. That's fake. Cool. Who did it? That's interesting too. That'd be interesting. All of this would be interesting. That the New York Times got duped into posting a fake Russian disinformation story. All of this is very informative to me.
I feel like all the initial part of the story is being ignored a lot. The Hunter Biden stuff, primarily because the Twitter account did get blocked. So we're talking more about the censorship part of the story than we are about the Hunter Biden. And both parts are important. I did check right now. It looks like their Twitter just got allowed again today. But what's weird that I've heard from Jack Dorsey say throughout the week, and it's weird on both parts, but it's also to me weird, and like maybe they just wanted the controversy to continue, but he continuously said, Jack Dorsey, that like about them being banned, like that maybe they corrected it or somewhere. I don't know if he said the corrected part, but he said they can get unbanned immediately if they just delete the post, which at first sounds bad, right? But then he said once they delete the post, they can post it again and it won't ban them. It's just something was the way it
Technical,
was. Yeah.
some like back
and I was like,
thing.
He said that days ago. And I'm like, so why don't you just do that? And to me, that sounds like maybe now you just want to ride the wave of of what this causes, you know? Like, and because most people won't talk about that part. Here's the solution. No one wants solutions, even though we talk about that, you know? But I was like, if he's giving you the answer to your problem, and he's even saying you can actually post it, but you have to delete it first and post it again for I don't know why, it sounds stupid, but you do it and let's be done, you know? Like, but
Right.
but
Nonetheless, right.
but no, I see that, and it just makes me think that maybe they, now that they're banned, maybe they want to keep the ban or at least not unban themselves of their own will, right? They want it all to come from them because now you can ride the wave of whatever story spins this give you, you know?
Right. All of this makes sense happening. Even the censorship kind of thing. It's not like I don't like it. And I'm not necessarily, I'm sure there are agendas behind this. So outside of like probably the government or something, I'm not necessarily looking at anyone in particular as an evildoer or for or against anything. I think we have a new technology. Like it's not new, but right, like the way we're communicating is different. These are like public companies that are now right. Like the argument is, are they media companies? Should they be bro? What are they charging so much information, so much content we see? What is their role? Like this is an actual real question. I know that it's gonna be like a fluff piece or something in an article, but these are actual questions, like the implications, social media, and
Yeah.
just the way we're in it. It's not just social media; it's just us being on computers more, everything being digital more. Like the implications this has had on society, how we behave, the things that we do, what ways do we used to think about governing things maybe like obsolete now? What how do we apply things to new stuff that's kind of happening, right? Does the where does the First Amendment lie on public companies with stockholders, but they're in charge of expression, right? And this is something that's a right outside, right? Like all of these kind of questions. Do we act and take down information? Do these companies and entities start doing, because they're not censoring everything. You still have freedom of speech, right? Like Alex Jones was on Joe Rogan the other day. He's not off being beaten and tortured somewhere. But from these platforms, he is, yeah, that's a form of censorship. I'm not a fan of it. At the same time, I'm okay for someone saying they don't want you on their property or in their store, or they don't want to do business with you. I'm also cool with people saying that as well. But who moderates this?
Yeah.
Or do we moderate information? Does the government step in? Who's gonna, right? Like what do we want the government to step in? So there's like actual real questions that like are on, like these people have to think about these things. Some shit comes out the election, everybody's going fucking nuts. Oh my God, what probably getting like what do you do in that situation? You know what I'm saying? Like, so
We gonna do
we could look back and be like, yo, censorship, this should look crazy, you know, or immediately get the whole paranoid thing. But just real world perspective, think if you was him that day, this shit happened on your, you already know this is gonna be a nutty fucking, this is gonna be a fucking day. I'm gonna be in the meetings all day about this shit, senators, all like before it's even censored. You know what I'm saying? Like to get to the point to even make to that decision, like this is a big thing. This is something people keep talking about, caring about senators. Like, what would you do? You know what I'm saying? Like, what would you do having to make a decision like that? Like, you might get it wrong. You might get it wrong too. You might, take that shit down. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Because if I was faced with that, I would like to think I would have been like, nah, just let it roll. But I don't know what's at stake. I don't run Twitter. You know what I'm saying? I have no fucking idea what any of that stuff. So he might have just made a call and everybody's not gonna get it right. And I'm not giving him no out for doing that or anybody out for their decisions. I'm just saying people aren't gonna get the decisions right all of the time, and it don't mean that they're evil or trying to do something wrong. I mean, I think there's a lot of people doing that kind of stuff, but we got to give, as we learn and deal with these things, we got to give people there's space to make mistakes, especially with technology going so fast, everything changing, all of this shit going on. Like, decisions are going to be made. To think that all of them are going to be right is nonsensical. As long as we get it right in the long run and correct mistakes, it's all good. So him backtracking, right? Good. Don't do that. But shit's not always going to be a perfect fucking touchdown run to the fucking end zone all of the time. Like, that's not how life works. We can't expect. I don't like politicians, but even if they were being truthful, let's say they were the best people on earth and they loved and cared about us dearly like our mothers did, they would still get it wrong sometimes. They would still fuck up. They're still people. They're still gotta grapple with the pros and cons. Some decisions are tough to make. Some decisions I don't ever want to have to make. Some things I don't ever want to have to weigh. Right? Like, but some people have to make decisions like that. And Joe Rogan asked what Kanye, when we talked about
the war question
about the war.
Yeah.
That's a terrible decision to have to make, right? Like, there's not really any good outcome when you back, but those are decisions that people have to make, you know, crazy stuff all of the time. So, you know, there's got to be space to allow people to sometimes. Some mistakes is shitty, you know what I'm saying? Some mistakes we ain't never gonna ever forget it or look back on, but you know, people are gonna fuck up. People are gonna fuck up your order at McDonald's. People are gonna fuck up the war plans. People are gonna fuck up the treaty, fuck up the laws without no ill intent. You know, even maybe trying to do the right thing, people could still fuck up or just be in the hot seat. You know what I mean? And fuck.
Yeah.
Gotta make a call sometimes. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying you got to take multiple perspectives on some of the shit, because it's quick to jump out the window and be like, oh my God, they're gonna bring in the fucking stormtroopers, they're censoring. And there is this is going on, but I just think it's a result of just where we are. Like, we're still trying to figure these things out. And yes, I'm sure there is people that will be very happy to censor it. So we got to watch out for them too, because we know that they're real. We know that there are people that would want that to happen. So we do have to guard, you know, our freedoms, our rights and stuff like that. For sure. People should jump on them. Everything happened the way it should, right? He threw it up. People flip. Yo, what's right? He's talking to senators, reversing it, whatever, right? Like, that's kind of how it should happen. Wrong thing. Let's talk about it more, whatever. But we ain't just going to go, you know, doing that kind of stuff. More things need to be fleshed out. So while I don't trust everything that's happening, but I'm just saying on a surface level.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, man, it's like that. Me and you are going to fuck up. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is.
Just got to keep going, try to correct it.
Yeah, right. Hopefully we learn to make it better. That's all we can do. And you know, what else do you expect? What else can you expect of somebody? Try their best, right? If they're not doing that, then that's a problem. But I ain't mad at people for possibly fucking up sometimes, or being in situations that I can't even imagine. You know, over here, backseat quarterback and shit. Like I know the deal. You know what I'm saying? But it's easy to do that. You know what I mean?
So, yo, I had a few other things on here, but as per usual, I think this is like the new tradition. I'm going to end it with the top 10 topics on comicbook.com, the silly stuff, and then we can get out of here. All right. Actually, I'm going to do them in order of 10 then. Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver's MCU mutant powers exclaimed in new book.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not going to read that.
Very well.
Dracula parrots taking internet by storm in time for Halloween. Yo, none of this shit has anything to do with the movie. I was like...
Dracula parrots, go on. Go on up the tree.
I tell you, I need to find that good website that actually has the good comic book movie news or something. I was like, Dracula parrots, I ain't come here for this shit. I don't know. It's parrots that have the colors of Dracula, like red. They look like alucard. But they're parrots.
Very well. Dracula birds. I see.
I'm looking at it now. Like, I guess I could send you this, but it's like you don't need it. Just
All
imagine
seems
a
well
parrot.
in comic book land. Dracula pigeons are free.
PlayStation Plus free
Free
games for November. Damn, it was a whack ass Friday of topics.
Word. PlayStation Plus still doing that. I mean, free games out there.
Marvel Studios director says key Avengers Endgame moment was improvised.
Okay, behind the scenes.
Benedict told me this moment was an improv, and it looks like the one when Tony is what I'm talking about, when Tony is like yeah, and he's like, this is the one. Yeah, so that was improv.
Okay.
Star Wars, who plays? Oh man, fucking I don't be right. I ain't see Mandalorian yet. God damn it, dude. Come on, man. Like, who the fuck? I don't even want to say this. Yeah, you see someone, this is number 6. Someone wrote, I think if this is the comment, the last comment, are you fucking shitting me? What a fucking way to spoil things. Yeah, like that's fucking lame. Yo, that show came out today. That show, and to just put what I just saw in the title right now,
I didn't hit, so I don't know. So okay,
I didn't say it.
I'm like,
well, you don't watch Mandalorian, right? You think you're gonna watch it? I know you've seen it, but like, you think you don't usually care about spoilers. I'll read it for you.
What I'm saying is, even if you read it, I wouldn't have been.
Now you will. Spoiler. You will, because it kind of. I mean, you don't care about things, but I mean, you'll understand it because.
What is it? Are you gonna say
so
spoiler?
Here's a spoiler for people who care. Yeah, I think
they didn't put that on there. Is that big?
Nah, wow. It just says yeah, Star Wars, right? Who plays Boba Fett in the Mandalorian season 2 premiere? That's mad disrespectful. I ain't know.
Because you didn't know Boba Fett was gonna be
come on, man.
Oh,
man, fuck you. Come on, dude. This site's done. We're gonna have to get my comic book movie news from another site next week. This site's done.
That's pretty grimy. Okay.
It is. Yo, that's today.
Yeah, no, I didn't know.
There's like a time. There's like a time where that show came out today, dude. Like today.
Yeah, no, okay. That's kind of wild.
And most people viewing time is the evening, yo. So that's just like probably like brand new, fresh.
Wow. Damn. Okay. Spoiler.
Another PlayStation.
Number 6. Spoiler. Number 6.
That's fucked up, man.
What's number 7 or 5?
CD Projekt Red reveals reason behind unexpected Cyberpunk 2017 delay. This is a game. I was like, a lot of game shit. People do everything now. You got to make that money, dude, I guess.
Go on, finish the list.
PlayStation Plus 1-year deal drops to 51% off. That COVID deal, dog.
Okay, deals, people.
Here's the news we really want, right? Zack Snyder's Justice League box office. Analyst predicts ulterior motive for HBO Max Snyder cut. The hell? I don't even know what I just read.
Man. Yeah, that was... It's like some espionage. It's like somebody got pictures of somebody.
They making this movie for ulterior motives.
Yeah. They're fucking bribing us with this. Don't let them.
With at least one analyst citing that this was likely motivated more by than just appeasing Snyder himself. Snyder's project far from complete. Rumors claim it could cost $70 million for reshoots and visual effects. Noting that this is likely more indicative of investing in Snyder as a filmmaker more than an attempt to reap the financial benefits of this project. So I guess maybe the way things worked out, this is more like a talent acquisition move. Because they treat him well, so maybe they can get future movies from him. Not so much that they expect this movie to do anything proper.
They're like, look, man, you're nuts. But a few people in the office seem to really like you. By the way, they're green light, man. That's a spoiler alert. All right, the people, I like them too, though. But
there's an X factor to consider. Do we want this person to work elsewhere, or do we want to keep them in house? If it doesn't make hard financial or objective financial sense on its face, then they're motivated. They want
And
to be in the
somebody
Zack Snyder
someone
business.
was like, "He's the wild card, man. You got to keep the wild card on the books."
They want to be in the Zack Snyder business just like Warner's wants to be in the Nolan business. It's long-term strategy. So that's the real reason for making this movie. They don't actually give a shit. They just want him. So
that's fine because he's still doing him.
He's doing those zombie things for Netflix, you know? So if he get a taste of that Netflix money, he like, yo, this is pretty nice over here. Maybe I don't need to come back to Warner, you know?
Nah, man. You need to keep doing what you're doing.
But he is
that
doing
Snyder cut look ill.
He doing those what is it? Dawn After Dead. You know, he doing the Dead movies for Netflix. Okay. The guy who made, you know, it's a remake of whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, George.
Yeah, it's a remake of one of those things. Amazon reminds users they don't own purchase Prime videos. This is a top story.
I suspected this all along. This is why I do not buy on Amazon.
And then the final one, Tiny Toons reboot won't bring back Elmira according to the original actor.
So. Ooh, disappointment. Sorry, Elmira fans.
Yeah, so I gotta say, man, these stories whack. And the most important one was a big ass spoiler, so fuck you. This site is banned. I gotta.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Here, now I'm looking manually just for something cool. Spider-Man 3. Some guy reveals shocked reaction after reading the script. Oh, I think it's Ned. He's on Instagram and he read the script and he's like, because, you know, obviously stuff happens in the movie, you know? So, but obviously he ain't telling us because, you know, he has some type of decency, unlike this fucking website that gives no shits.
Jeez.
And follow up on our wrestling story from before. Every WWE Twitch account that has been put on hold so far. So, yeah. No more Twitch if you work for WWE.
Wow. Yeah, I mean that's it's crappy. Yeah, no, I'm not for it or anything. I'm just, you know,
no. I told you Lupe and Royce have a podcast and Lupe does that a lot too. And same thing when I talk to Leon, like he definitely takes the other side, you know, when I talk, you know. Just presenting the other perspective, you know.
Yo, this ad shit is working pretty good, man. This is pretty unbelievable. I've never seen performance like this before.
We still on the podcast. Really I don't know if you want to wait till after.
I know.
That's up to you. I don't know how much of that you want on.
No.
Yeah,
the game. What did they say? The games to be sold, not told, brother. You know what I mean? The games to be sold, not told. We're coming out with the aLr Kaiser.
Wasn't that like a Snoop Dogg album?
Next year, you know what I mean? Learn how to get your butts online, you know what I mean? Self-promotion, independence, you know what I mean? But I was going to mention, you know, in time, when some more info comes on your things, yeah, now see what the key is, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Here, this will be the last thing, song of the weeks. That's a picture of Marvel releases new image showcasing every Venom symbiote ever. I thought you might like that.
Okay. I do like the symbiotes.
Yeah. But, all right, that's it for a little fun comic news. All right, songs of the week. You want to go first or you want me to go?
I actually don't have any songs of the week. I really haven't listened to any music. I mean, I have, but it was so background that I really, like, I can't even, nothing sticks out in my mind that I have on. I've been doing a lot of work getting ready for the holiday stuff.
The independent grind. Independent grind.
Yeah, so I stayed up till like 2 yesterday. I don't, nothing notable. Right. I'm gonna pass this week to keep it real, you know what I mean?
You know what's funny? So for an album that I'll probably never hear again, I got a few ones. I'm gonna do mostly all Busta Rhymes. I'm gonna do the slow flow that had the ill beat, right? I don't even remember the song too much, but Rick Ross was on here. He's another one of the best feature rappers ever, you know? that song to me went on too long because Rick Ross started it and then it became a song. I was like, I don't know. I just felt like the vibe. You just kind of needed a 1 and a 2 and a move, you know. But yeah, Rick Ross is just another one of the top feature. Like I kind of just like seeing what did he do here? What did he do there? You know, Kendrick Lamar song, Look Over Your Shoulder, Satanic. So those are 4 songs from Busta Rhymes. But honestly, the album I heard, Wave Music, Noah B dropped an album last night. And I actually heard most of it last night. It's pretty good. So I'm gonna throw in that whole album too. So yeah, Noah B. I don't even know what it's called. What the hell is it called? Really bad at knowing.
There's some things I gotta listen to, but I'll catch up on some of this.
Noah B. Heavy Armor LP. Even has the word LP in the title. So there you go. Last words?
You know what I mean? I recommend the same thing every time. Like just use your brain a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I'm a genius.
Hey,
I'm
man,
just saying,
right?
Take a second out and think.
Wrestling.
Take it easy.
Oftentimes, you know, you come out here, you do your microphone stuff, you say the same shit, but you're saying it to a new city all the time. So even if you're saying the same thing, sometimes you just that's the thing. That's what we perform, the same thing.
Yeah, take it easy out there, people. Just take a step back, breathe, look around. Know what I mean? Just take it easy.
There you go. Bake that chicken, smoke that turkey, boosh.